On 3, there'll be an announcement about his future next week. Zach is still doing a lot of things, but there will also be an announcement next week about some more things Zach is adding to the plate.
Congratulations. 5 years with Locked On, too. I saw that yesterday, man. That's a great run. You do great work there, and I know the Auburn fans love that. So 5 great years.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a fun ride and excited to add more to the plate next week, maybe. Can't wait to see what the announcement is.
Yeah. We'll have that for you next week. Zach, thank you. Have a great weekend. Always good to talk to you.
Hey, thanks, guys. Talk soon.
All right, buddy. Zach Blackerby with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
One of the good guys in the business right there. Some developing news that Forrester is passing along to us now from Kentucky Sports Radio, Matt Jones. He is the first to be reporting that Kentucky football has been placed on 2 years probation. Again, this is from Matt Jones, Kentucky Sports Radio. If Matt Jones says it in the state of Kentucky, you can put it in the Constitution. It is spot on. Kentucky football placed on 2 years probation and will have to vacate games after the use of ineligible players for 2+ years. Now, the NCAA says the school had no knowledge of this, so this is on straight on the coaching staff here. This is the case, Matt writes, where 11 players were paid for work they did not do at jobs around the Lexington area.
That's old school mafia, the old no-show job, right?
Yeah, 11 players there, but 2 years probation, ineligible players for 2+ years, and vacation of wins. According to the early reports, no postseason ban in this situation, no postseason ban. And if you're a Michigan fan, you're looking down the road and you're saying, okay, they used 11 ineligible players for over 2+ years, and they're getting 0 postseason ban. You understand why the Michigan folks have 0 concern about any postseason bans with their sign stealing allegations.
Yeah, I mean, I just think days of postseason bans are probably over. I think that's. I think you're seeing that. I mean, there was a day where if you had 11 guys being paid to do a job that they didn't have to show up for, you would be worried about losing 20 scholarships over that.
A much more intimate conversation, Auburn on Auburn conversation with Taylor Korn and Zach Blackerby is available on the Uncorked platform, and old interviews that you can go back, maybe new to you if you haven't seen them yet. You can get all that Uncorked right there on the YouTube page there. War Down Pods, Roll Tide Pods with Mick and Jake, and, of course, the Pennant Grace with Emily Grace McWhorter. Until next time, God bless you. God bless America.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that Next Round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street, because that's what you're getting after visiting NextRound.store.
When on YouTube, you constantly hear requests to please like and subscribe. Well, here at Disrupt Media, we aren't going to play that game. Those demands are frankly outdated. So we just want you to hit like or subscribe. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel. Pick a path, hit like, or hit subscribe. It's your call. We don't care which, just pick one. Or go to Roll Tide Pods and do it. Or War Damn Pods. Or the Disrupt Media YouTube channel. Or the Meltdown. Just make a decision and stick with it. Like or subscribe, the choice is yours.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We start a new week of the next round. Dunaway and LT are out, so I filled the studio with some people familiar to the platform. Mick Gillespie, you know him from Elephant in the Room, Roll Tide Pods. Much more with him coming up soon. EG is back from camp.
Woohoo!
She's going back to camp this week, but she's back from camp for a day. So she's with us. She's been at UAB, at Alabama, at Auburn, and she's about to start traveling some other places as well. So good to have both of you today.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Great to be here.
You good? Welcome up from Fairhope.
Yeah, look, love coming here.
I mean, it's quite a drive, but we appreciate it.
Well,
Did you drive it this morning?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
Actually
thank God.
came from Jackson, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
almost like a trade. Like Dunaway's in Fairhope, and I'm here.
That's true. Yeah, you two have
Think
swapped
about that.
places.
for one day. Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Rockstar is with us today. He's got the whooping cough is his problem there. I've heard you all morning, Rockstar.
Whooping with a W in front of it.
The whooping cough.
Whooping cough. Yeah, it's been a hard recovery. These things stay with me for a long time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if I was a singer?
I know, it'd be terrible. Did you have a show this weekend?
We had an Odie show this weekend. I got a Birmingham Country Club this weekend. So.
Yeah, but you didn't have one this past weekend with your
No,
whooping cough.
thank God I didn't have anything this weekend.
Yeah. Lunceford, Tyler, and Scott on the back row, and Little T on social media, at Next Round Live, at Next Round Live on social media. We got a lot to get to on the show. You went to a Braves game over the weekend.
I did.
Pin of Grace coming up later on after the show today. We might get a hint of what
Yes.
EG's going to talk about.
Just a little bit.
How many Braves games for you this year, would you guess?
4 or 5.
4 or 5,
Four
okay.
or 5. A little conservative, but I am now 2 hours away.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that is true.
I have to
it's,
take my wins when I can get
Yeah,
them.
okay. All right. So EG's been to camp. She's been to a Braves game. We'll talk about that. You followed camp, your work with Jake Coker.
Yeah.
The camp over in Tuscaloosa. We'll talk some about Auburn camp as well. We're going to start in Alabama in just a moment. What are you looking for most in camp in Tuscaloosa?
I just want the secondary to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, and I really feel like losing Downs and then all those guys that left, and it was a mass exodus. How quickly are the young guys going to be able to go out there and Bachway and Xavier Brown, who obviously has like some kind of hand thing, but said he's been doing really well. You got the 2 transfers at corner. You know, are those guys going to be all right? I feel like the safety spot, even though they lost Downs, is going to be okay. But that's what I'm looking for right there. I think the offense is going to be really legitimate this year.
Yeah, you watched some of that secondary
Yeah.
over there in camp because that's what a lot of people have been talking about.
Right.
Not just Mick, a guy named Nick Saban.
Yeah.
It was the first one to, well, not the first, but one of the prominent people to bring it up.
And I think a lot of people, based off of X and Instagram, everyone wants to know that. That's the biggest question. And you mentioned it feels like it doesn't even feel like it. They're asking young guys and transfers to step up into a role that is crucial. And for Nick Saban to point out that weakness, I think that adds even more of a spotlight on it. But I do think after watching 2 days of practice that there is some talent there. Everything's against air, of course. However, those guys do look, and I want to look at Damani Jackson especially too, the USC transfer. His name has been brought up quite frequently from Coach Walmack.
Yeah. So we'll talk some more about that. A lot of offensive talk from Kalen DeBoer that you'll hear in a moment. Down at Auburn, you were there Friday.
Yes.
At Auburn camp, your first chance to see the Tigers out on the field in what was their second practice.
Right.
And talk to some of the players after. We'll hear it later. Jarquez Hunter talking about that running back room.
Yes.
Wanting to be a 1,000-yard rusher and all of that.
Yeah, Jarquez was asked, and again, we'll play it, if he feels like the running back room is getting the flowers they deserve, essentially. And he was very quick to set the record straight, and I'll leave it at that. But I do think there is some understated talent there that not a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah. He was talking about Auburn being considered the best running back with Jeremiah Cobb and Demario Alston and him, the best running back room in the Southeastern Conference. We'll hear that later. But as I was pointing out on TV last night on 3340, when that question was brought up, I'm like, well, if you look at the SEC, here's your leading rushers from last year.
Right.
All these guys have the same one thing in common.
Yeah.
Cody Schrader was your leading rusher with 1,600 yards. Jaden Daniels had 1,100. Quinshon Judkins had 1,100. Ray Davis at Kentucky had 1,100. The one thing those guys all have in common is they're not in the SEC anymore.
Yeah.
they've-
How about that?
So the top of the SEC rushing has kind of been wiped
Yeah.
out. So it's not crazy what Jarquez Hunter is saying.
Yeah.
I mean, there was an open door there.
Yeah, it feels
and he
like-
was 6th in the conference in rushing.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
second leading returner.
No, I mean it feels like Auburn's laying in the woods too. You know, laying in the weeds. No one's talking about them. That's always when they're their most dangerous.
Yeah.
We've seen it over the years. They got a great coach. You can't argue that. And there were times last season when you would watch them and think, this team's about to turn the corner. But then they took a step back. I got a feeling that having the same coach, the same players kind of moving forward, that they're going to be a lot better than people think.
Yeah, they were much closer to beating Georgia and Alabama in the same year than just about anybody else in the country would have been.
Yeah.
They're now, you drop a Michigan in there. Obviously, Michigan would have been very close to beating Alabama and Georgia, if not beating them both. They beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they beat both of them. I don't know. But Auburn was probably as close to doing that as anybody in the country would have been.
Right, and you look at Auburn and the resources, the roster is not equivalent to a Michigan.
Oh, gosh,
and the fact that they were able to do that, and it seemed like they were a play away every time. Play away.
Yep. Michigan in the news, too, over the weekend. We'll talk with Adam Rittenberg of ESPN about that. And we'll get to your best and worst of the weekend. Hemp Hill Services brings you the best and worst. We'll get to all of that today. You could join us, 734-0923. That is 734-0923, 205 area code. Or drop it on Twitter. Drop it in the chat room if you're with us on any of our video platforms. And we'll get there. Best and worst, your best and worst of the weekend, presented by Hemp Hill. As I mentioned, Adam Rittenberg coming up. 4 downs, trash, everything in the normal show. Let's get started, though, hearing from some of the camps over the weekend. We'll start over in Tuscaloosa. This is Kalen DeBoer, Sunday after practice. First of all, cut to Rockstar. Just a general question. In camp, what have you seen out of Alabama so far? Here is the answer from Kalen DeBoer.
They got a lot of want to because, the first day there's going to be energy. I spoke with you. The second day, is another follow-up. It's still early. Day 3, you get the pads on for the first time, and now, now they're into that routine and that rhythm. And that rhythm can just, become complacent. These guys are definitely not doing that. And they're having fun doing what they do out there on the field every day. They enjoy being around each other. They obviously are out for themselves and want to do things individually and have that success. But ultimately, you can really feel that they care about their teammates, and I like the direction our chemistry is going.
I will make just an observation that has nothing to do with what he just said there. But they have done you guys that cover the team no favors. They've moved this outside now, haven't they? Yeah.
Yes.
I noticed he's outside. That is not inside. So used to, Nick Saban, the practice would end, you would go inside, he would come into the air conditioning.
To Malmore. Well, so they're in the indoor practice facility. They're in the corner.
Okay, so it's at least undercover?
Undercover, right.
Yeah.
I mean, and they have it pretty cold in there.
Okay,
but
all right.
it is, I think it's much more chaotic than when we're going back to Malmore to the podium where Josh Maxson is calling on you and there's some order.
Yeah.
This is you're fighting for a question. And if you guys watch the pressers I send back, you will hear me try to interject like 3 or 4 times throughout the course of one of these things, but I'm doing it for the good of the next round to make sure we get our question.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get aggressive, EG.
Not going to be talked over.
But what he did say is that as this team goes to pads, as this team, every step is a new step, not just for this team, but for this coaching staff too. I mean, anytime you make a coaching change, Auburn was doing this last year. Everything you're learning as the team is learning, which is kind of an interesting process.
I'm excited about this guy. I mean, you can just tell that he's organized, that the practices are run well, but at the same time, there's a fun element to it that I feel like sports have to have. And when you get away from that, when it's not fun anymore and it feels like work, it feels like anxiety. And I thought that over the last 3 or 4 years at Alabama, you just kept hearing anxiety. Hey, we're worried about losing instead of let's go out there and win. And I think like Joe Madden type guy, like Kalen DeBoer, same type of guy. The laid back, we're gonna have fun doing this, and it's been a refreshing change, and also the way that the media has access now too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, you would have never gotten to be out on the field, even close to it, when Coach Saban was there.
We were very regimented in where we could go, and I'm not saying that's changed much, but we have a lot more flexibility. Still, you can't touch the grass, of course. You have to stay on the sidewalks.
Right.
But there is an element of, kind of, you said, added fun. And Malachi Moore, I asked him about the defensive installment, how that's going with the scheme, and he said it seems like it's getting more fun now because we're starting to learn it. And I think that's a great thing to say, day 2 of practice, that the defense is now starting to have fun.
Yeah. So here's Kalen DeBoer now talking about Jalen Milroe. Obviously, a focus in Alabama camp is the Alabama quarterback, among the Heisman Trophy favorites, but looking to take another step forward, and here's what his head coach has seen in him so far.
Yeah, I thought yesterday and today took the best steps I've seen since I've been here. Really, the way he's intentional about coming out, even not just what you say, but just how you do things, what your body language is. And he gets that's important, but he's actually just really leading that way. And then it leads to him playing well, and the other guys just following suit. So today he came out again, really today threw the deep ball probably as well as I'd seen him throw. That's a lot of just guys and the timing and all of that and his rhythm coming into play. He's feeling more comfortable there. So some big plays that were made out there. Defense made a couple big ones too, but he's really done a nice job, raising his game, asking more out of himself. I'm pushing him. I know Coach Sheridan is too, every day, just like those details, man, be on it. And he's holding himself to a high standard. It's just not all talk.
Deep ball with him is so significant. Now, if Alabama can find, the reliable burner downfield that is open deep, his running ability, Jalen Milroe's running ability, and if Alabama can run the ball better, which is something that Kalen DeBoer has done as a head coach, you just draw those safeties closer and closer to the line of scrimmage when the quarterback starts to run. If he can be proficient on the deep ball, that will be a massive weapon with him. Yeah,
I thought that it was the mid-range ball that really needed to improve. His footwork wasn't that great, and I've heard that from people that played quarterback and won national championships. Hang out with every day.
Yeah, I've seen this show before with Jay Coker.
Yeah, and you love all of the total package that Milroe brings to the table, but as he works on that part of his game, I feel like he'll be so much more ready for the NFL, but he'll also be a much better player here. I love the leadership, though. I kept hearing last year that the guy was always the first one before it was ever reported. Somebody else told me that. And I love that because when your best player is the guy that's working the hardest, it's going to make everyone else try to reach that level.
I agree. He's just been, I feel like, a constant these last couple of months. And I've touched on this before, and I'm curious if you agree with me, but it seems like last year he did have that leadership role, but it wasn't as solidified. There was a lot of questions these first 3 weeks, really 4 weeks last season, but now that confidence is there. And to me, it's almost surprising with all of the transitions that he's had to deal with, how he's almost rose to the occasion instead of shrinking back. And him and DeBoer's chemistry is there.
Yeah, well, look, hanging with Jay Coker, we've talked about it on our podcast. It was hard for him to establish that when Alabama in that same year, and they had a very similar start, right? Remember, Coker came in, and then he didn't play, and then he did play, and we didn't know. And Milroe last year was going to be him.
That's true. Yeah, because it was the Cooper Bateman start against Ole Miss, which Alabama lost. They at least won the South Florida game. Yeah.
But even after that, he wasn't named the quarterback. And then they, and honestly, they went and got it worked out. And then he was able to kind of build that. And he said, I wish I had one more year, because now you come in and everyone knows that you're the guy.
Yeah, well, the truth is in that whole situation, and I've been told this by many people, for whatever reason, Lane Kiffin was the offensive coordinator that didn't like I'm not going to say he didn't like Jake Coker as the person. Yeah. He just didn't like, for whatever reason, what Coker brought to the field. Yeah.
So weird.
Which is weird, especially when you go back and look at Coker and what he did in the postseason that year.
Yeah.
You obviously, I don't think that was what was at play with Tommy Rees and Jalen Milroe last year. That has never really been like Tommy Rees. I don't even know if that guy's done an interview since he left Alabama. Nick Saban has never brought this up, and I don't know, even if he did, I'm not saying he would lie about it, but I think he would probably be evasive about it. I would love to know one day that whole story. Like, what was the coaching staff? Honestly, it's easy. It's easy now to say, oh, we were just trying to build his confidence. Oh, we were just trying to do this because it worked. But I would like to know the true behind-the-scenes story of exactly why he got benched in that South Florida game.
Yeah.
Because no matter what happened, it worked. Yeah. So now it looks like a genius move.
Exactly.
Body language.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what a lot of people said.
I
mean, a lot of people said either he was trying to get Milroe's attention or he was trying to show the team Milroe's the best quarterback, and just look at the rest of these guys if you don't believe me.
Like, we want you to buy into Milroe.
That's
Here's
right.
Why.
Yeah. And if you're not buying into him, let me show you why you need to, because here's the other options.
Hey, he's a genius. I mean, Nick Saban
that's why
really
you give
is
it the
a
benefit
genius.
of the doubt on that.
It's like, I don't know how he did it, but it worked.
He did it.
I would have never thought that team would have gotten as far as they did last year at the beginning of the season.
One more before we go to Auburn. Speaking of Jalen Milroe, he also talked to the media about how he has progressed in camp so far this year. From yesterday over in Tuscaloosa, here's the Alabama quarterback.
So now having spring ball, summer, fall camp, we can narrow it down to plays that I like, plays that I dislike. And so we have, talks amongst each other and with the offensive staff, just seeing, what are some things that I like as an offense. But one thing is that we're not narrowing down the offense. We're opening the whole playbook to what I want to run. So that's been awesome to have that opportunity. And so now that we're in fall camp, it's all about narrowing the plays I like. So, offense is catered to me. That's been the best thing so far, is seeing that. And so I'm super excited because, it's all about getting confidence in the offense. And so with having spring ball, summer, and now fall camp, I've just grown with confidence in the offense.
And that is huge, like having the understanding of Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer. Here's the stuff he's comfortable with. Here's the stuff he doesn't like. Stay away from the stuff he doesn't like.
Yeah.
Let's feed him the stuff he's comfortable with. And by the way, Tommy Reese had to figure that out last year, too. So it's 2 straight years he's had a coordinator having to do that.
Right. Again, kind of like you said, this has nothing to do with what he just said. Do we know how much muscle he's put on between?
I do not.
I mean, he looks so much bigger than he did this time a year ago. It's insane.
Yeah, that's a good question for
Yeah.
him. Jalen,
I'll
how much
ask him,
muscle do you put on?
Jalen, how much?
I don't know
What
how
do
you
you weigh?
quantify that.
Yeah.
What do you weigh now?
He looks like an action figure.
I know.
So yeah, why don't you ask him that next time you're there,
Okay.
and we'll find out how much weight he's put on.
I'm sure that'll do well.
Yeah. We are going to go down to Auburn next. First, let me tell you about Hydrolive Therapy. Perhaps you had a long weekend. Maybe you're outside a little too much, got a little too warm. Hydrolive can help you out and get those fluids back in your body. Great locations throughout the Birmingham area. Hydrolive Therapy. You can find them online and find the great locations near you. Hydrolivetherapy.com. That is hydrolivetherapy.com. Tell them the Next Round sent you. Get a great discount when you tell them the Next Round sent you. So walk into Hydrolive, say the Next Round sent me right here, and you'll get a discount from Hydrolive Therapy. Hydrolivetherapy.com. Get healthier with Hydrolive Therapy. All right, let's go down to Auburn. Hugh Freeze entering his second year. You saw him Friday, and when EG was down there, or was that Friday? Yeah, it was Friday when EG was down there. Talking about, he was asked about last year, and he's like, honestly, I'm tired of talking about last year.
Right. So he actually spoke to the media on Thursday. So I was there Friday. I just got players. But it is interesting because he does go on and talk a little bit about last year.
Yeah,
I will say that.
I'm tired of talking about it, but I will talk about it. You really can't blame him for that. I mean, we just brought up the heartbreaking losses to Georgia and Alabama, the loss you would love to forget to New Mexico State. I mean, any coach does this. They sit there and 2 or 3 different plays. We beat Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah, totally different team.
They're viewed totally differently. Leaving last season, even with the New Mexico State loss, they be viewed differently. Leaving last season and coming into this season. So I get that he's tired of talking about. And by the way, it's August, so it's probably time to quit talking about last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got to change the mentality of the locker room. That's extended from Brian Harsin too. And it's hard to get a team to learn how to win. Alabama has this ability. They got it from Nick Saban. You remember, they used to stink. There were a lot of bad years, but there's a whole generation of Alabama fans that don't remember that. And one of the things that Nick Saban brought to the table was learning how to win. And I feel like Auburn's kind of at that point now where he's won. Hugh Freeze has won. He's good. But how do you get the entire group to understand what that looks like? And not talking about last year is probably a good idea. Just get moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen these wide receivers with your own eyes.
I have.
There's so much talk about how these wide receivers look. Let's revisit what Hugh Freeze said about these talented wide receivers down at Auburn this weekend.
Obviously, there was a ton of buzz about Cam Coleman early in Rowley, had a good spring game. Now as Perry comes in, how do you feel their skill sets can complement each other, and how excited are you to get them out on the practice field?
Thrilled. They looked the part. That's what an SEC receiver should look like. It's what Auburn should recruit all the time in the South. They're out there. You got to go get them. You got to work hard to get them because everybody wants them. But to land Perry and Cam and Malcolm and Bryce, I mean, I think we arguably have one of the top recruiting classes in the country in those guys. Cam's probably a little farther ahead because he had all of spring to learn what we're doing, but there's no question they're talented. I'm careful not to put too much expectations on them in year one, but it wouldn't surprise me if they contributed in a big way.
So if you go back and look at the receivers at Ole Miss when Hugh Freeze was there and then immediately following his departure, which that coaching staff, had a lot of Hugh Freeze holdovers on it. the likes of Metcalf and A.J. Brown and those guys, Laquan Treadwell, those big-bodied, fast receivers, that they kind of had a look of a receiver that he liked, and I think he's starting to recruit that way at Auburn now.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, and you've seen those guys go on to the NFL. That's the selling point for them, because Auburn hasn't really developed wide receivers lately. But his track record is, I mean, anyone that plays fantasy football knows all those guys because they're the guys that score so many points, you know. So, big guys that can catch and run. And that's where he's had a lot of success. And it does look like that with Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, they had that staff, and like I said, the staff that was the holdover after Freeze was there, they had a type of receiver they liked the look of.
Yeah.
And that was the guy that got recruited to Ole Miss. And this, at least on video, these Auburn guys look like that. Can they play like that? I don't know.
Right. That's the $1 million question, because like I said earlier, this is all against air. But when I was standing there, I had a great view. I was right in front. Plays were coming towards me. And they just looked elite. And we're seeing them right here, Perry Thompson. I mean, it was just truthfully just fun to watch them take those reps.
Yeah, it's definitely a look he likes in the receiver room, and we'll see if they can play like some of those guys. Some of those guys I mentioned were pretty good receivers. Metcalf, Brown, Treadwell, those guys can play. I don't know if they'll play like that. We'll see, but they certainly kind of have that look. Now, I mentioned Jarquez Hunter. EG was in the scrum here talking to the Auburn running back. So this running back room, is it getting the respect it deserves? Jarquez Hunter is going to give you an answer. I'm curious to everyone else's answer. Here's what Hunter said.
Jarquez, one of the topics at SEC Media Day is just maybe how underrated or not talked about the running back room is. Do you guys as a room take that as disrespect or personal, or are you guys shocked at all at how little people are talking about you guys?
Yeah, we shocked. I mean, that's very disrespectful. I believe we one of the top running back rooms in the nation, or the best. I mean, we just very underrated. We can do anything anybody else can do or better.
Well, they'll get a chance to prove that.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Here are the numbers, Mick. Last year, Hunter, 159 attempts, 909 yards, 7 touchdowns. He averaged 75 a game. Damari Alston, 320 yards. Your problem with Auburn's run game is, well, I don't know if it was a problem. Peyton Thorne was your second leading rusher. Damari Alston, 64 carries, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averaged 32 yards per game. And then you had Jeremiah Cobb, who was a true freshman, 33 carries, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 yards a game. So all told, you had 11 rushing touchdowns and somewhere in the neighborhood of, 1,200, 1,400 yards. So that doesn't necessarily scream best running back room in the Conference of the Nation when that's what you're returning.
Right.
But when I showed you what the SEC has lost, I mean, it's not that crazy an argument to make, I don't think.
No, I like his confidence, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you see so many guys that are kind of, elusive with their thoughts. You know, it's like, look, if you're playing a sport and you're confident in your ability to go out there and win at it, I like a team that talks like that.
I think that's a change too. At SEC Media Days, I saw a lot of that where guys were being asked about certain players, certain things, and you had the elusive answer. And naturally, the guys going to that event are going to be media trained, they're going to be buttoned up, and you're not going to get those sound bites. But something like this, if you're confident and that was August 2nd, August 3rd, let's do it. And hold yourself accountable with statements like this, because you will be held accountable.
Jeff says, Perry Thompson, he's talking about Perry Thompson. Perry could be in a Steelers uniform, and I wouldn't think twice about it.
That's so true.
I mean, there are those guys now. Like, I don't know. Now, Mick and I are older than you, as you're
really?
well aware.
No way.
But, like, it seemed like occasionally you would see a guy walk on a college campus. Like, Bo Jackson would be a good example. Bo, you could see Bo in a pro uniform day one, right? It didn't blow you away. It happens more and more often now where you see these guys walk on campus and you're like, my gosh, he already looks like he's got an NFL body. Like I've said it before on the show, the first time I really remember that was Trent Richardson.
Oh, yeah.
Just with my own eyes, not on TV or anything, just my own eyes looking at a guy, and I'm like, Trent Richardson could be in the NFL today now. He ended up not being a good NFL player, but body-wise. It seems like more and more now, these kids coming out of high school, and you're like, my gosh, you could go straight to the NFL.
Well, from my perspective, my first game on the SEC sidelines was Texas-Alabama. And so I came from the Sun Belt, Georgia Southern, go Eagles. But I remember, like, the sound of those collisions compared to the Sun Belt and the sheer size of these players. It is every time I stand next to these guys, whether it's in like these media scrums, media days, just walking past them in the facility, they are huge. They're muscular. They're just big boys, and I think that it can be a little overshadowed when you're only watching the SEC on Saturdays. You tune in the Sun Belt, and it's like, oh, you may have 3 or 4 of those guys.
Yeah.
It's the entire roster. It's the entire 2s, 3s, 4s, not just the ones.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. So going back to the Alabama talk, LT's neighbor, and he's talking about he's just one of the guys at the chat room. I don't know, he's physically Lance's neighbor. And he's talking about Tommy Rees and the whole benching of Jalen Milroe. They botched the offense is what happened. With drastically different quarterback styles, you had to pick one because it wasn't going to change the entire offensive strategy. So he was saying the coaches just basically botched it. Landmine believer. Tommy Rees was like Saban's 4th or 5th choice. That was the main reason he retired. His age started to affect him getting some of the recruits and assistant coaches he wanted. I mean, I don't know that to be 100% true. I don't think Tommy Rees was his first choice by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and it was hard for him to keep coaches. I mean, I heard that too.
Yeah.
Because of the way that you have to work at Alabama compared to other places. I don't think it was necessarily that he was going to retire, but I also feel like with Nick Saban that he couldn't. You're changing all these coaches, and he couldn't be everywhere that he needed to be to coach the coaches, is what he said, and I believe that.
AU Chase, when Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Kane are being overshadowed, you're recruiting good at receiver. So I am. That is, and we'll get back to this a little bit later on in the show. That's one of the things I'm most excited about this season for Auburn is seeing those wide receivers, see if they live up to the billing. They should. All right, we'll start. They could. I said they should. Who knows? We will do your best and worst, presented by Hemp Hill. When we return, you go ahead and hit us with those in the chat room. Your best of the weekend, your worst of the weekend. We'll get mixed. We'll get EGs, Rockstar, maybe even throw one in there. Forrester is only worst with his White Sox. It is the worst Major League Baseball team I think I've seen in my lifetime. Mick, you follow baseball more than I do. Think about that.
I've got it on here. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Mick's already got it
I'm
down.
very aware of how bad these White Sox are.
Scott is a White Sox fan, a suffering White Sox fan right now, as they all are. Hey, Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. That is where you find Johnston RV Center. They have repriced both of those lots. They're so confident in their pricing on those 2 lots that they will beat any price nationwide. That is the guarantee. Just bring them a price on a comparable RV. They will beat it at Johnston RV Center. Also, they're going to make sure you got that lifetime warranty on anything that is new or qualifying used from RV Warranty Forever. You can find that at Johnston RV Center as well. See more online, johnstonrvcenter.com, johnstonrvcenter.com, or I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. More after this.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
I'm here with my good friend Jon Lunceford of Lunceford Furniture to tell you about special values on some super comfortable seating. What you got, John?
Lance, every year we stock up on great comfort items like Lazy Boy recliners and sofas so that our customers can be ready for fall and football. This year is no different. We've made special purchases that will deliver great value to Next Round listeners and give them the most comfortable seat in the house. And as always, we've got the best prices in the state on Lazy Boy and the best selection anywhere.
That's awesome. We all know from years of shopping with you guys that Lunceford Furniture is the home for Lazy Boy value. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
All right, we're about to do best and worst. Auburn Superman on Twitter is correct in this, and I should have included this in our Auburn running back discussion. The Damari Alston did get hurt, and Jarquez Hunter did miss a couple of games.
That's true.
Now, I'm making the argument that you could consider him the best running back class or running back room in the Southeastern Conference, so don't mishear me. But when I gave those numbers, I should have added the context that Jarquez Hunter was out those first two games, suspended, whatever, out. And Damari Alston did get hurt. So my apologies for not including that important piece of context. It is an important piece of context. I agree. So my apologies to you, Auburn fans and Auburn Superman. Thank you for pointing that out. All right, let's do our best and worst of the weekend, presented by Hemp Hill Services. If it is not running right, draining right, or flowing right, Hemp Hill Services is the number you need to call. Those are the people you need to call. They've been to my house. They've been to just about every house on the staff here. Hemp Hill Services has, and they are the ones we trust. 229-2090, whether residential or commercial, they can help you. 205-229-2090. Hemp Hill Services, they bring you best and worst of the weekend. And EG says, Rockstar, she's only got best. Does that surprise you that EG's not going to find a worst?
No.
And she glowed when she said, I've only got best for the weekend.
Do you have it in a PowerPoint presentation?
No, we still haven't really shared with our audience what my PowerPoint.
EG loves a good PowerPoint, man.
Her amazing handwriting.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you do have good handwriting.
Precise and on point. Like so focused.
She basically writes in calligraphy all the time. My daughter does this. I guess this is a theme for the kids now.
This is my fall camp for Bama.
Did you write that A, or did that A come printed over there? Wait a minute.
I
You wrote
that. Yeah, you can take it.
Wow.
Can we get a zoom in on that?
I don't think Scott's going to zoom on it.
That's okay.
Yeah, but
there it is.
I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. A little white, a little bright, a little bright.
There we go.
Why don't you take a picture and send it out?
I will. I'll send it out. All that to say, I do love PowerPoint. I do love colored pens that correspond with the teams. But I actually do have a worst of the weekend. I just forgot about it.
Oh, no. All right. Well, so best and worst of the weekend presented by Hemp Hill. What is your best and your worst? You want to start with your worst?
Yeah, we'll get out of the way. The Braves splitting with the Marlins.
Yeah, somebody called that in the chat room an embarrassment.
Yeah, it is.
Embarrassment.
It is.
An embarrassment?
No, it is.
Landmine Believer, Braves splitting with the Marlins is embarrassing. This team sucks. The Moon says the Braves just have too many injuries.
So I don't think that this team sucks. However, the Marlins sold their team. I mean, this is like a JV high school. I don't know what. Well, let me rephrase that. They are still professional baseball players. However, they did a lot of moves at the deadline. They were sellers. So this was a lineup that was decimated. It was not even the Marlins were used to seeing. So it should have been a 4-game sweep. I said I would not even be happy with
You did. You said sweep or nothing
Sweep
for
or
you.
nothing.
Yep.
So it was embarrassing. I was at the game on Saturday night, and it was that 1-run deficit again that just sucks. We saw late inning offense the night before, and then yesterday, 7-0 shutout. Embarrassing. Not good.
All right, so embarrassing.
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 Yeah, dare I say.
All right, so what is your best?
Scotty winning gold, of course.
Scotty Scheffler,
Yes.
which EG's basically a family member. She loves him. She knows everything about the
I
Scheffler
love
family.
them.
And he shot a 29 on the back nine to chase down John Rahm, who was melting down on his own.
Yes, he was.
Rahm with a 39 on the back nine. Scheffler with a 29 comes from 6 back at the turn.
Incredible.
To chase him down and
It
win
was
gold.
electric. And John Rahm, I am not the biggest fan of him,
Okay.
truthfully. So it was even more satisfying to see him kind of crumble there. And Scotty takes the gold. I mean, what better person for it to happen to?
Yeah, what a year for him, Mick. He's won the Masters, been arrested, and won a gold medal. I don't know that anybody's ever had that trifecta there.
No.
He is the first world number 1 to win gold in golf, but golf has not been around
Yeah, I haven't
very
been around
long.
much, yeah.
So
I heard that stat yesterday. I was like, that's kind of a...
you need an asterisk there.
Yeah, you need an asterisk there. That is, golf hasn't been in the Olympics long. I don't know if did you see the medal ceremony? That was the coolest part.
No, I didn't.
So he gets all the way, like he's singing the anthem. You've watched enough golf, know Scotty Scheffler doesn't show a ton of emotion, right? Standing on the podium, singing the anthem, gets to the very end, landed the free home of the brave.
It's the best part.
Those are the best lyrics of the song?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's like, USA.
He gets to that part, and he just breaks down.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it just breaks down. And that was really cool to watch. I agree. That was cool.
That was my best of the weekend.
Yeah, or best of the weekend, U.S. winning gold in golf. Best and worst of the weekend. How about you, Mick?
All right, let's start with the worst. When I was a kid.
Oh, there's the photo of Scheffler that Scott's showing us. Photo of the Scheffler. Yeah, I mean,
So
he broke
cool.
down at the end. It was cool.
Yeah. When I was a kid, the '88 Orioles season, living in Baltimore, they started out 0-21. So
Right.
from the
Wow.
beginning of the
I remember
season,
that, yeah.
it was unbelievable. I mean, I don't know that a team could ever match that. The worst start that a team's ever had in baseball, and you're out of it by April. The White Sox tried to take the all-time record for losing earlier this year, and I think they got to 15. Now they're working on a 20-game losing streak, which is amazing to me. And they get to 21, they'll hit that 88 Orioles, and then 23 from the Phillies and 61's the all-time record. I think that we can legitimately see the White Sox get there, and I hope they do.
Scott, can I get Scott's mic here before we move on from the White Sox? I don't want to spend a ton of time talking White Sox because I don't even think they care. But Scott, I looked last night. They are on pace for 37 wins. Scott, 37 wins is what they're on pace for.
Yeah, so made a couple of notes here. The longest losing streak by any Major League Baseball team since 1988, the Orioles.
Right.
The 18th time they've been swept this season.
Wow.
18th time. That is incredible,
Wow.
Scott. 18 sweeps this year.
And this is the earliest any team has been 60 games under 500 since the Cleveland Spiders in 1899.
Oh, no.
Are you officially eliminated from postseason contention yet? And I ask that seriously.
I'm not feeling very good about it.
No, I know there's zero chance it's going to happen. I just wonder if,
when is it official?
This would seem like it would be the earliest official elimination.
I think it was opening day. What they said?
Yeah, I don't know if they've got the little Z or whatever it is, by the standings.
Right. I don't see it. I was just looking at ESPN standings, and I asked that question sincerely. They're 41 and a half games back. I mean, at some point, you're officially eliminated, and the White Sox will be the first to do that this year. Now, the good news is you open a series of the Athletics, who they're not equally bad, but they are pretty bad.
Those are Jon Lunceford's diehard.
Oh, yeah, he's a big A's fan, isn't he? I forgot about that. Yeah.
The Los Oakland A's.
Yes. Yeah, Lunsford is.
Hey, we're talking about the White Sox here.
Yeah, is this a big beef weekend for you and a big beef week for you and Scott with your athletics
It
playing?
is. Hey, we'll have our own series while all the rest of y'all are having fun
Yes.
and actually winning.
37 games is what you're on pace for, Scott. Now, Mick, you're a big baseball guy. I think this may be the worst baseball team I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean,
Because how many wins that Orioles team end up with? Do you know?
They actually played pretty good baseball after they won.
Yeah.
And then they had Cal Ripken on that team, and I think they traded Eddie Murray during the season, but, two Hall of Famers. I don't know that the White Sox have any Hall of Famers on that team.
How would we know?
The sad part, though, is that they're tanking like this. You don't necessarily get the first pick anymore.
Right.
So, like Baltimore did this, and the Cubs did this, and Houston did this, but they got the first pick. Now, they'll have more chances, in a lottery, but, that doesn't guarantee them the first overall pick. And just watching some of their games, it's It's worse than I think some AAA teams, to be honest with you.
Oh, I would say there's probably AAA teams that could beat them, and that is an incredibly sad statement. So I think the Detroit Tigers' 43 wins in 2003 is the worst 162 game win total.
Right.
And I don't know that the White Sox can get there. I mean, when you look at where they're pacing right now, I don't know that they can get to 43 wins. So we could be watching history, the worst baseball team we've ever seen. Was that your best or your worst? I forget.
That was my worst.
I would hope it's the worst.
So, I mean, as a Cubs fan, I guess it could be my best. But,
that's true.
But the best was actually Blake Snell throwing a no-hitter. No-hit the Reds 3-0. Guy played for the Montgomery Biscuits, had one of the longest streaks in, I think, the Biscuits franchise, and one of the Southern League's longest streaks without giving up a run during his career there. But he won the Cy Young last year, and then a no-hitter this year. That's rarely done. 18th no-hitter in Giants history, third of the season. And what's crazy about this is that going into the ninth inning, you think, well, the pressure of getting the last 3 outs. But he also had the pressure of hitting a 120-pitch pitch count because he thought that Bob Melvin would take him out of the game had he gone over 120 pitches. So that adds something totally different to
the mindset
of a pitcher.
Yeah.
With an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm maybe pressing to get there if I think I've got limited pitches. That is interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Best and worst of the weekend presented by Hemp Hill Services in the chat room. James Best, Jared Smith committing to Auburn. They do pick up the commitment from the in-state player, and that has been a trend for this Auburn recruiting class. They've done very, very well inside the state of Alabama. And Auburn now on 24/7 Sports, and in case you don't know who Jared Smith is, he's the kid that is at Thompson now. 24/7 Sports, Auburn is now 6th in the country in recruiting. That has been a fast rise since the start of Big Cat Weekend till now for the Auburn Tigers. If you look at it, I'm trying to pull this up right now. If you look at the team rankings, and On3 is frozen for me as I was going to bring that up, but if you look at the team rankings in On3 Sports, Ohio State is still number 1, Alabama is still number 2, LSU 3rd, Georgia 4, Oregon 5, Auburn 6. So that's where the Tigers are recruiting right now. I mean, it is good company, but it is also the point that we always make on this show. Auburn is 6th in the country, which means you're 4th in the Southeast Conference. I mean, it is just so hard to keep up. I mean, you look up at Georgia, LSU, and Alabama in front of you, and you're like, I am recruiting my tail off, and rankings-wise, I'm still behind these guys, right?
Yeah, right. And flipped a couple Alabama guys last week.
They did,
which was, definitely a double whammy. But if you ask these coaches, they know that recruiting has gotten a lot more difficult now with the NIL transfer portal and all that stuff. Until these guys are signed, this stuff, which even I do follow every day. It's
even now until they're in my uniform playing in an actual game. I'm not comfortable, right? Because even once they sign, they can bolt.
Yeah.
What is more surprising to you in recruiting rankings? And keep in mind now, this is for the signing class in December. Most of these guys will sign in December, so. I mean, really, we're not that far away, and the season's about to start, and you're going to hit some dead periods here. So this is, it is starting to get interesting. What's more surprising to you? Texas is 15th or Missouri is 16th? Which one surprises you more?
I think Texas for me. But I don't know. Because
Missouri being 16th is pretty crazy.
Right, especially after the season that they had. I like Drinkwitz a lot. But
now that's only 9th in the SEC.
I know.
16th in the country, 9th in the SEC, but Texas is 8th in the SEC.
But I think Texas is more surprising with the resources that they have.
Yeah.
Well, they may be laying back, though. I'm shocked by Missouri. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I wish that they weren't even in the SEC. They're one of those programs.
So you're an anti-Missouri guy.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't get it. Now, last year, I was blown away by how good they were. And I'm not a believer, but when you recruit, that's how you win, and you got to have the players. And I give Drinkwitz a lot of credit because, the fan interest isn't what we have at the other schools. It's kind of one of those places where they actually had some people at their games this year. But if I was a player, I mean, I wouldn't go there. If I could go to Alabama or Auburn or somewhere else, just because of the love that people have for football there.
Yeah.
James' worst, his best was Jared Smith. His worst, packing to get ready to move. I moved my daughter into college. Now, it's not the same, but moving sucks, man.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year. Cody's best, Noah Lyles winning the gold in the 100-meter. First U.S. winner in that in 20 years. Fastest man in the world, Noah Lyles. And if you watch that race, it was a photo finish. That was an incredible 100-meter.
Yes, but also it was delayed for so long. We're sitting there watching, and it was like a 3-minute delay for the race starting, and no one knew why. And so in that situation, especially that heat, like you need to go. You do not need to be thinking about that longer than you need to be. And I thought that was so random, and there was never a response or explanation given as to why those athletes sat there and just stared at each other.
Yeah, I don't know, but the ending was amazing. I mean,
incredible.
The guy that you thought won didn't win because you're not allowed to put your head across first. It's where your chest comes through. And I mean, who would have ever even known that? What's funny though is this time of year, you know, every 4 years when the Olympics rolls around, these are all these games and stuff that none of us know about. You know,
Exactly.
like, oh, he won. He got across first. No, he didn't. It was his torso.
Yeah. We'll continue best and worst of the weekend. Again, you can send them to us at social media, Next Round Live, or drop them in the chat room if you're on any of our video platforms. As we go to break, a reminder, if you have gotten banged up doing something you love, like playing in the yard with the kids, basketball, tennis, something like that, or the things you hate, having to work out, working in the yard, precision sports medicine and orthopedics can get you back right. Make an appointment now, 205-512-3885, 205-512-3885, part of Brookwood Baptist Health, or go online, precisionsportsortho.com. That is precisionsportsortho.com. Get healthy again with Precision Sports and Orthopedics. More of the Next Round after this.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
The first college football tailgate party of the season is set. Bowling and Bragging will be Saturday, August 17th at 6 p.m. in Crestline Village in Mountain Brook, benefiting the Critical Care Transport Program at Children's of Alabama. For more information, visit boilingandbragging.org.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Dustin Hokanson had reported it this morning. Auburn has confirmed it now that Auburn has finalized their out-of-conference basketball schedule. They will play in the Hoopsgiving, the holiday Hoopsgiving at State Farm Arena. Saturday, December 14th will be this year's game, and they will take on Ohio State. Only the second all-time meeting against Ohio State. I think most people who have followed basketball in this state will remember the only other time Auburn and Ohio State played was what up until recently was probably Auburn's best team of all time, the Chris Porter team that was a 1 seed and appeared destined for the Final Four, and they ran into that Ohio State team in the Sweet 16 and got bounced by Ohio State in the Sweet 16, 72-64 back in 1999. That game was played in Knoxville. That was actually up in Thompson Bowling in Knoxville. It was the site of the Sweet 16 that year. I remember watching that one. So this will be their second all-time meeting. Auburn's out-of-conference schedule, the 2 out-of-conference schedules in this state are pretty remarkable. When you consider that Auburn is playing down in Maui, you don't know who they're going to play there. They are also playing Duke. They're playing Purdue. You add this Ohio State game, Houston in a neutral site game, which I know this sounds silly, but it is a neutral site game. Houston is the neutral site team this year. They'll be playing that game in Houston as a neutral site, literally 10 minutes from the campus to the Toyota Center. But Auburn will play it in Birmingham next year. I mean, it's an incredible schedule that Auburn is playing. So that is made official by Auburn, first reported by Hoke today, that Auburn will be playing Ohio State in the holiday Hoopsgiving. I know that's big for a lot of people because they like to drive over there. I mean, it's just in Atlanta, easy drive, State Farm Arena, December 14th, if you want to mark your calendar.
I do agree with Hunter. Calling it Hoopsgiving in December feels
kind of
off
weird.
To me.
Kind of weird, but these schedules, as we have learned and watching this, these schedules can be difficult to piece together, you know, who plays where, what time you're playing. You want to be in the right tournaments. There's so many more neutral site games. Teams are taking advantage of the neutral site thing just to ensure it's sometimes, and this is not the case with Auburn and Houston, as I pointed out the other day, but if it's a neutral site game, to be a quad 1 game, it's only got to be a top 50 opponent. If it's a home game, it's got to be a top 30. Sometimes that can be a huge difference.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they like to play these neutral site games. That way it ends up being a quad 1 win. Yeah, so there are benefits to doing that. I prefer to see them on campus, but it's the way the game is working right now. It's weird. This became such a trend in football.
Yeah.
And I think we're dialing back from it in football now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more and more home games. I think their appetite for playing these neutral site games now, I say that as LSU is about to play USC out in Las Vegas, and Georgia's about to play Clemson in Atlanta.
Even that LA or Las Vegas game, I remember when we were in here with Dunaway about 2 months ago, there was rumors that both teams were trying to pull out of that game for reasons unbeknownst to me, but there was discussion about that. So I think that proves your point that these neutral site games aren't as appealing anymore as they used to be.
Yeah. Mick Gillespie is in today. EG is here. Lance will be back tomorrow. Dunaway down celebrating his anniversary. We'll be back coming up on Thursday. Dunaway is back with us on Thursday. Today, actually, my 24th anniversary.
Oh, my goodness.
Congratulations. 24 years. Thank you, Scotty, for the lights. 24 years. She has been saddled with me, so I appreciate her patience.
So what were you doing this time 24 years ago at 9:53 a.m.?
Probably getting ready for the wedding. I'm hesitant to say that it was a noon wedding, but I think it was a noon wedding. What?
That just makes me laugh. I feel like I will definitely know the time.
Oh, you will because you're a female.
Exactly.
Like, I'm a male.
Like
that's
the men.
different. Yeah. Yeah, I think we were a noon wedding. Yeah.
Outside or inside?
No, God, no. August 5th in Alabama. I was not going to put anybody through that.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I do think we had an inside reception, but it was kind of a smaller place, so I think some people were having to stand outside a little bit. That was probably a little brutal. I did not blame them for leaving.
No, next year's a big one, though.
Yeah, 25th. We're already talking about it. We were talking about it this weekend. We had some windshield time this weekend, and we were talking about what we do for the 25th, where we go.
Something big.
There were some ideas thrown out, and I'm excited about any of those. So
trip?
Yeah. Destination for the 25th. I mean, you got to do that for the 25th, right? Keith asked, he asked this in the mybookie.ag chat room, when is the big announcement this week? We are aiming towards Thursday. Mick Gillespie in studio. Mick may or may not be a part of that announcement. Clint Lamb was on with us Friday. Clint, part of that announcement. Zach Blackerby on with us Friday. Zach, part of that announcement. Among others. Those are not the only people that are part of the announcement, but that will be coming up on Thursday. We'll make that announcement, so we won't have to keep teasing you with that anymore. We started teasing you on Friday, but a big announcement for the future of our company and for you as our audience and even an expanded audience. So we're excited about that. Before we continue, Greg from Pell City, we'll get up on that roof, make sure your roof is looking like it's supposed to. Storm Restoration Roofing is the name of his company, but it doesn't just have to be a storm. If you just are in need of a new roof, Greg can come inspect it and let you know kind of where you stand. And if it's time to do it, he'll do that new roof for you. 205-542-3531. That is 542-3531. That's his cell number. Get that risk-free, absolutely no charge roof inspection from Greg and see where you stand. Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531 for Storm Restoration Roofing. He said, what? Said Thursday. I didn't sleep all weekend. Now I got to wait 3 more sleeps. Yeah, you do. Sorry to do that to you. Let's go back to some more best and worst of the weekend. By the way, back to the schedules. Len, my believer, says Alabama's is maybe the toughest one he's ever seen. Again, they play. Now, some of this depends on who you get in these tournaments. You never know. But Alabama obviously has North Carolina out of conference. They also play Purdue. They play Illinois. It is, I mean, these, I think anymore, Mick, you look at it and you're like, why would we not schedule hard? You're not punished for it, even if you lose the games. Like Alabama scheduled hard last year and lost almost all those major games that they scheduled. They lost to Purdue, they lost to Creighton, they lost almost all those major games and then limped into the NCAA tournament. And even then, the committee looked at them and said, yeah, you're still a 4 seed because you scheduled so strong. And I don't really care that you didn't win all those games and that you're limping in. We appreciate you scheduling strong so much. We'll make you a 4 seed.
Yeah. Well, look, you got to have a good team to schedule hard because you
I do think it says a lot of what a coach thinks about his team. Yeah.
Right. You got to win those early season games some years when your team isn't that good to get into the tournament. But what's happened in Alabama, and really Bruce Pearl started this, is that it's become one of the best states in the country for college basketball, which is, honestly, it's amazing to me. And I look and I see Auburn's playing Duke and Ohio State and Purdue, and then, I see Alabama and who they're playing and get to follow that. It's really exciting. I mean, and it's the fact that 2 of the best coaches are in the state and they recruit nationally, and then they play these type of games. And then when they play each other now, it's become a big deal.
Yeah, it's more exciting to me. Like, I remember growing up, and if Alabama or Auburn played one of these games, like I remember when I was a kid, when UNLV, the running Rebs, were at their height, they came to Auburn that one time. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
When North Carolina came to Tuscaloosa, that was a big deal. Now you feel like you get these games far more regularly now when you see these these cross sections, and it just doesn't punish you. I can see how college football teams kind of are scared away from it in the past. When you only had 2 spots for the national championship or 4 spots for the national championship, it might not have benefited you to play a really difficult schedule. But now, I think you'll see it more easy.
Yeah, I think so too. And selfishly, I like the out-of-conference games that are with the group of 5s and things like that. But I do think there's a benefit. It's like baseball. You want a high RPI. It helps you, ultimately. It's at the college baseball level, and we're seeing it that bleed out into more sports, specifically with basketball and football, a little less than, but with the 12-team playoff, I think that it'll become more common practice again.
Yeah, look at the Alabama's football schedule. Wisconsin next year, Wisconsin and Florida State. But you nailed it. You look, future schedules tell us that they're not going to do as many of the tournament type things, like the games where you're in Atlanta and all that kind of stuff in football in the future. But just going back to the basketball part of it, I get so excited thinking about, like you said, like, okay, Auburn's playing Duke. You never used to see that. Alabama got to the Final Four last year, and when you looked at all of the teams in the the Sweet 16, they played more than half of them because they went out and played a tough schedule. And I thought that gave them a big advantage moving forward.
Yeah, like even looking back last year, you didn't know Clemson was going to be an Elite Eight team. Alabama played Clemson last year, another one of those out-of-conference games they didn't win. And you're like, well, that's an Elite Eight team. You didn't know it at the time, right? Sometimes you don't even know when it's one of those games that you schedule. But to your point, EG, before we go to the break, I think football will actually schedule more difficult now.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not sure it benefits you to do it and making the 10-team playoff, it doesn't penalize you if you lose the games. And what college football is facing right now is trying to find ways to get people to come to games.
Yeah.
Schedule is going to do that. If I go watch big games and I'm not watching, with all due respect to the Western Kentuckys and Middle Tennessees of the world, I don't know Alabama and Auburn fans that get excited about going to those games. I might be excited because it's a game I can take my kid to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. And it's a cheaper ticket if I have to buy it on the secondary market. Yeah. And it might be less traffic and easier to park, but I'm not excited about the opponent.
I think with those kinds of games, and I don't look at week one, I look kind of later in the season, those non-conference matchups with the Middle Tennessees, Georgia Southerns, things like that, App States, those are the games that have more implications. And I feel like when we're talking about scheduling like this, after the fact, those games become huge. All the times that, you've seen a group of 5 go and play these premier powerhouses and they leave with a check and a win and upset someone's season.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. And those become like these marquee games that you never even knew would exist when you look at it in August and it's, okay, Georgia Southern's playing Nebraska.
Yeah.
Well, Scott Frost gets fired, Georgia Southern walks away with a check and a win.
That's the worst ones. Like New Mexico State, for Hugh Freeze, La Monroe for Nick Saban. When you lose the guarantee games, you give them a check and a dub. Yeah. Those are the worst ones.
Exactly.
Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. If you're anxious about football season, go get some of that anxiety worked out with Woodhouse Spas. They are open right now. You can book a appointment online, buy a gift card online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Go get all the great services that many people here on the Next Round have enjoyed and our family and friends have enjoyed as well. You can do the same, birmingham.woodhousespas.com up in the Summit in Birmingham. Mick Gillespie in studio, EG in studio. We've got a couple of more hours to go. ESPN's Adam Rittenberg joins us the next hour. We'll talk some about this Michigan story when we come back. He'll go a little more in depth with us. Interesting to watch is that now circles Sharon Moore, the current Michigan head coach. More on that next on the Next Round.
Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. Unfortunately, over the past year, I've noticed significant hair loss. I asked around, and everyone said call Dr. Beckenstein. He is the absolute best. Dr. B pioneered the use of NeoGraft hair restoration right here in Alabama, and he remains at the forefront of hair preservation in the Southeast. He takes pride in treating each patient personally, applying his expertise to produce quality results. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of hair restoration and cosmetic procedures. He uses that experience and his advanced training to help his patients fully understand his procedures they are considering. Call Dr. Beckenstein today, 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We start hour number 2 of the next round. About 35 minutes from now, Adam Rittenberg of ESPN will join us. We'll discuss what's going on at Michigan. More on that in a moment. A couple things I wanted to start this hour with. But first, I want to remind everyone of our kickoff party. It is coming up 1 week from Thursday. I mentioned we'll be making another announcement about our company on Thursday. But we'll also have the kickoff party 1 week from Thursday. It is at Walk-Ons right there at Stadium Trace in Hoover, near the Hoover Mat, just off 150 and 459. You can just show up. You don't have to RSVP. You don't have to do anything but show up and have a good time. We will have some giveaways. We'll have some specials. And we will always have a great time just hanging out, talking some college football and life and shaking hands, getting to know one another. It starts around 5 o'clock. People always get there early. That's no big deal. And stay as late as Walk-Ons will let you. We're not going to run you off. So 5 until right there at Walk-Ons, 459 Stadium Trace near the Hoover Met. So don't forget that. Put that in your calendar and make sure you join us there. Mick Gillespie is in. Lance will be back with us tomorrow. EG is in. Dunaway, I'm not saying that you're Lance and you're Dunaway. I'm just making a point. Dunaway will be back with us on Thursday. So I appreciate Mick coming up to help fill in. And EG, as always. EG will be back at camp. Where are you headed this week?
So I will be at Alabama on Wednesday. We'll hear from offensive coaches and players. And then I will be in Auburn on Thursday hearing from just offensive coaches. No practice window, but we'll have a practice window Wednesday.
Okay. So EG back in Alabama, back in Tuscaloosa and Auburn this weekend. You got a Pennant Grace coming up after this show today.
Pennant Grace, 12:15. Please join me there. We have a lot to discuss about our Braves, and I've heard that me and Usher are a jinx this season. I don't think we are.
Why would you be a jinx?
I don't know. It's being circulated, and I just want to let you guys know we are not a jinx. We're just trying to help us through
How many
together.
games have you been to?
I've been to 5.
How many have they won that you've been to?
I'm not answering that. Similar to Connor Stallions, I'm not going to be cooperative.
Is the answer 0?
No.
It's not 0.
It's not 0.
Okay, then
It's
you're not
0.
You're not a complete jinx
No.
if it's not 0. And then elephant in the room, Roll Tide Pods. You and Jake back at it coming up soon.
Yeah. We'll do 2 shows this week, maybe 3, just depending on what our schedules are. But lot to talk about, Alabama football and getting ready, and now camp. And I love getting his thoughts on, hey, what's Ryan Williams look like? Hey, look, good hands. He's going to have to work on his route running, the stuff that quarterbacks see.
Yeah, a guy that's actually played the game.
Well,
I'm going to trust his opinion on it, yeah. So Jake does a really good job with Mick on that. Elephant in the room. If you have not subscribed to War Down Pods and Roll Tide Pods, you can do that. Just go right there on YouTube. Subscribe to both those, part of Disrupt the Media. The Pennant Grace, follow them on social media, all of that right there under the Disrupt the Media. And then don't forget the Meltdown every single afternoon at 2 o'clock. So we appreciate you participating in all those. It does mean a lot to us. If you give us a thumbs up on this video, that would help a lot. Make sure you're subscribed here as well and set your alerts so you always know when we're live. Landmine Believer says, are we going to start seeing non-conference games, quote-unquote air quotes on this, non-conference games between 2 teams in the same conference? He's talking about in football as these conferences grow. That used to happen. I don't know that Auburn ever did it. I'm not certain about that, but I do know that Alabama and Ole Miss, there were years when they were not scheduled by the SEC to play one another, and they played what was considered an out-of-conference game.
Interesting.
We've seen it most recently in the ACC. It was Wake and somebody. I want to say NC State maybe weren't getting scheduled enough, so they scheduled an out-of-conference.
So what is the benefit to that?
Well, it's a game that your fans like.
Yeah.
So it helps you in ticket sales, and you don't see enough of that team. So, for instance, this is still an oddity. Texas A&M joined the Southeastern Conference in 2012. Georgia has never played in College Station. Now, COVID, I think, wiped it out. The COVID year, I think they had to readjust the schedule. But Georgia has never played in College Station.
Weird.
They have been in the conference since 2012.
Over 10 years.
Yeah, we're about to play year 12 of A&M in the conference, and to my knowledge, there's still not one on the schedule. Like we haven't released a schedule yet that's got them on it. I mean, just think about that they've been in a conference together now 12 years, 12 football seasons,
and
Georgia still has not gone to College Station. Now, again, COVID had a hand in that.
Right.
But still, I mean, that's pretty wild to think about. Even if it was only once in 12 years, you would still say it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I love the idea, though. It's like when Alabama and Auburn used to play in Montgomery.
Back in the Crampton Bowl.
Yeah,
school.
No. I mean in baseball.
Oh, in baseball, down at Riverwalk.
Yeah, at Riverwalk Stadium, and and it was a non-conference game. It is a little confusing, when you look on there, but I wish that Alabama still played Mississippi State. I like the fact that they played Ole Miss. I'm having a tough time adjusting to this new schedule because you're only going to have those 3 teams that you play all the time. So it's a way that you could get around that. But I wonder if there's some kind of bylaw or something where they would frown on that. The conference.
Well, they we don't get enough Auburn, Florida. I mean, that used to be such a big rivalry game. Yeah, and the expansion of the conference cost us that, and we just don't get it. And I'm not saying they need to play an out-of-conference, but if you start going, and the SEC is going to try to keep that from happening, but if you start going long periods of time. So since they came into the conference, Texas A&M and Georgia have played once. Now, again, they were supposed to play in Athens on COVID, the COVID year of 2020. 1913 in Athens, November 23rd, 2019. Georgia won 19-13. That is the only time they have played Texas A&M.
Wow.
Now, I don't know that there's a bunch of Georgia fans that are dying to play A&M. So I don't know that you would see that. But I think they'd kind of like to go to College Station.
Yeah, I think that would be the draw. Would be the location.
Yeah, that's a new stadium that has been in the conference a while you haven't gotten a chance to go to.
Excuse to go to Texas.
Yeah.
But I guess they're getting that in Austin this year.
They are. Now, I've never been to College Station. I think I want to go. I don't know. I don't like all the I think that is so hokey.
No, I liked it. What was that?
You like the Yell Leaders?
The Yell Leaders?
Yeah, like
I
just enjoyed going out there.
You went out there, so you've been to a game out there.
Yeah, and I liked it. What is it? Dixie Chicken, that bar that's so good. That's fantastic. And there's a lot of Alabama people in Texas.
Really?
Oh yeah, that surprised me too. But Bama has a big presence.
Now Scott in the mybookie.ag chat room, Forrester says College Station is awesome. So I want to go. I don't like all the hokey stuff, but I'd like to go to a game there.
Have you seen the Yell Leaders on College Football 25?
I have not seen the Yell Leaders.
Do yourself a favor.
I'm sure there's plenty of great videos out there. They're not making fun of them at all, are they?
No, it's excellent. It's excellent.
Okay.
Lots of hard work and dedication to get that role.
I'll go find the Yell Leaders on College Football 25. Yeah, it's just not my thing, man. Not my thing. AU Chase says, Brown rolling up saying, are you guys with the cult? It does feel a little cultish, I got to be honest with you. Hey, Dr. B is helping grow the hair back on this show, both Lance and me. Dr. Beckenstein is on the job, and he can help you as well. T3hair.net, T3hair.net. The great thing about it, it's not some cookie-cutter program that you just go in, you do the same thing everybody else is doing. Dr. B specializes it for you. It is tailored for you. You go in, you do the evaluation in the office. Dr. B comes up with the plan. He gets back with you on a consultation. You pick from 2 or 3 different plans in most cases and the one that you're most comfortable with. And he's getting great results for us. You can see more at T3hair.net. Go get an evaluation from Dr. B to see if he can help you. T3hair.net to help grow your hair back naturally with our friend Dr. B at T3hair.net. All right, so this Michigan story over the weekend. It takes kind of another turn and a little more fallout. Jim Harbaugh is going to the NFL. So he's going to dodge a lot of this Connor Stallions thing, but it was revealed Sunday that Sharon Moore, the current Michigan head coach, who's starting his first year, if you've forgotten, as the full-time Michigan head coach after filling in for the 4 games Harbaugh was suspended last year, that he may have received a level 2 violation for deleting text messages between he and Stallions, a Wolverines staffer accused of running the high-stakes sign-stealing operation. That's who Stallions was. The timing that the messages were deleted, this is On3's report of it, plays a factor. It came the same day Stallions was reported as leading the effort. It was reportedly a string of texts that totaled 52 messages between the two parties. So Connor Stallions The story breaks. Sharon Moore deletes 52 messages immediately. Just on the surface, that looks a little fishy.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. So we always use relationships as comparisons here. So, E.G., I'll let you answer this.
All right, let's do it.
You're dating a guy.
Oh, Lord.
And a girl says hello to him, right?
Okay.
And you somehow figure out that after she says hello and you saw it, he deleted a string of texts with her. You would say what?
I would say I can't say what I'd say on the show.
Yeah, but you would be immediately suspicious of it, right? Like, why are you deleting all this text?
52? What are you talking about for 52 text messages with this girl?
Yeah.
Or with Connor Stallion?
So I have found, and we'll talk more about Adam Rittenberg on the potential fallout of it, but there are people that think the Moore could get a significant suspension out of this because could be a repeat offender.
What is the level 2 violation consist of?
Well, it just depends. If you're a repeat offender, it could consist of even more. So
if there's more deleted text.
Or if he's done something in the past.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is the NCAA. They just kind of, shoot from the hip. But there are a lot of people that think he could be suspended. That is an excellent question for Adam Rittenberg a little bit later. But I asked this question. Do you delete text regularly?
No.
I don't either. And I have found there are two different types of people that clean out their text inbox, and people like me and I guess EG now, who it just remains full. Mick, are you a text deleter?
Kind of, because it's set to automatically delete them.
So you do the automatically delete?
Yeah,
okay.
so after a certain
so
amount of time.
you don't go in and manually clean it out?
No, not often.
Yeah, Rockstar, how do you manage your text box?
When I see stuff is full, I delete. It's like, my God, this conversations with a woman booking me 4 years ago, and I don't know this number, and it's like 20 texts. Get rid of this. I'm not going to talk to her again.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like, there's just so much that's just like, I'm never going to continue this text. Why? There's no information that I need.
But like texting with you and Nancy, like your wife, you don't go clean out the text.
I don't clean up because I'm sure that is a lot of data, a lot of pictures, and a lot of videos.
Yeah.
But you don't clean it up?
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure that text chain is going to go back like 9 years.
Yeah. I have a text. My earliest text is May 16th, 2018.
2018. EG, your texts go all the way back before God. I mean, because I thought I was bad.
What if I need something?
What if you haven't looked at it since 2018? What are you going to need?
But I know it's
like
here.
A socket wrench?
No. Like, what if something is said and I need to, like Connor Stallions, prove my innocence? I have it all. Hopefully Connor Stallions can delete those texts. Well, I guess they know that he didn't because they found 52 of them.
Well, some people think, by the way, that this was the NCAA leaking this. Josh Pate was talking about this last night on 24/7, Late Kick Josh, that the NCAA was leaking this to get out in front of the Netflix special.
Oh.
Which I don't know why they would care about that, but there's that Netflix deal coming out on Connor Stallions.
I don't know. They're an interesting bunch.
They are, but I mean, why would they care what was in the Netflix deal? It's
probably going to look bad.
Well, I think it's going to look bad either way, though.
Cheating.
Yes.
I mean,
I don't know.
Bottom line,
I don't know why they would do that. So I guess if you are going to, I think Lance famously said on this show, if you're going to walk on the wrong side of the tracks, always have a burner phone, which is probably the best recommendation for a college football head coach. Always have the burner phone.
Right.
Yeah.
I am amazed, constantly amazed, at the investigations into college football or college athletics where a coach's state-issued phone becomes the center of attention. I'm like, why are you conducting this business on a state-issued phone?
I don't know.
They're going to have to watch The Wire. That's what we learned about using burner phones.
Yeah, and you just break them and drop them in your face. So always use a burner phone. But I would say the other thing, if you're going to use a state-owned phone, always delete your text so that if this ever comes up, you're like, no, I always delete my text.
Yeah, or use very specific coding. So it's like, even if you're talking about something, it appears as though you are not talking about what you're talking about.
Right.
I like that.
And if you're working with Connor Stallions, they should have figured that out anyway, right?
Exactly.
So the reason, and I'll bring this full circle, the reason Sharon Moore could be a repeat violator is in August of 2023, according to On3, he negotiated a resolution to claims that he had been contacting recruits during a dead period. That was during COVID-19. If you remember, you may remember, a lot of Jim Harbaugh's issues started with some recruiting he was doing during COVID-19 when people were not supposed to be making visits. He lied to the NCAA about that. And the NCAA caught him because, again, he used a athletics department issued credit card to pay for a meal of a recruit on campus. And all they had to do was find the credit card receipt. And they're like, oh, so you lied about this now.
That's horrible.
These
Go back to
coaches that use
pigeons.
state-owned stuff.
Use pigeons and smoke signals.
I just don't use
cash.
Cash.
That's the easier one. You use pigeons
Cash.
smoke
And it was at a
signals.
burger joint too, Mick. I mean, this guy was making millions of dollars a year, and he's turning in a receipt from a burger joint, the Little Brown Jug or whatever it's called.
But the problem, though, is the NCAA. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do here because they really have lost their teeth.
They have.
But this should be a major deal. I mean, if you care about fairness and playing by the rules. But the problem is that, the hamburger. I mean, why wouldn't they be able to buy the guy a hamburger? You know, like in the past.
Yeah.
You know
now, the issue there was he was there during COVID when it wasn't supposed to be there.
Right. But I mean,
now,
they were banging people for food and
gosh,
all
yes.
kind of stuff over the years.
Yeah, even small purchases were big deals back then. So anyway, it's worth keeping an eye on. We will get more from Adam Rittenberg of ESPN, who covers all the college football for the ESPN, but he's up there in Big Ten country, so he's very close to that. We're going to do 4 downs when we come back, but a reminder, Wednesday night, Rockstar and the crew will be back at Odie's. You said you were in concert at Odie's this weekend? This
Friday
coming weekend?
night, we are at the Crestline location. Will's Dayton Rockstar featuring Doug will be on the stage.
What part does Doug play? Why has he been added to Will's Dayton Rockstar?
Because Will's Dayton Rockstar was a 3-piece, and I was like, we need a bassist, and that came in Doug. We already had the name, and I was like, I don't know how to add it in the name, so you'll be our feature.
Will's Dayton Rockstar featuring Doug.
Yes.
Okay, so Doug is on the stage with them, but you can go grab lunch anytime or dinner at Odie's Tavern, Crestline Village, and Edgewood there in Homewood, the brand new location. Get those big cup cocktails, Rodney's famous cheeseburger, the Diablo sandwich, all right there at Odie's Tavern. And every single Wednesday night, Rockstar, Lance, and Will Haver do award-winning trivia at Odie's, 8 o'clock at the Crestline Village location in Mountain Brook. Odie's Tavern, a great place to go for lunch or dinner today. All right, 4 downs when we come back. Adam Rittenberg in just a bit. More on that Michigan story. That's all coming up on the next round.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new chicken bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the bayou, the amazing hand-patty burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville. Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Four downs coming up in 1 second. You know, I mentioned everything that is coming up on Thursday. I don't know that people get as excited about this as I do. But I enjoy watching preseason football just because I love football. Why are you laughing at me, EG?
Because we had
There's 162 baseball games.
We had this same conversation at Usher's house.
Yeah.
And we were watching the Braves game, and you said verbatim, "There's preseason football on. Why are we watching this?"
Well, I mean, I kind of want to watch football. There's 160 as a regular season baseball game. I got my first football game of the year.
Oh, my goodness.
The exhibition football is back, EG, Thursday night. They played the Hall of Fame game last Thursday. Everybody now in action. NFL Network will have Panthers-Patriots if you want to watch Bryce Young. I don't know how much you'll play in that game. Panthers-Patriots, 6 o'clock NFL Network. And Rockstar, your Lions play the Giants. You versus Reed, that is also a 6 o'clock game.
It could be a good year. I can feel it.
I know. You got to be excited. Rockstar's got the whooping cough in case you've been
having a kid. I think of an amazing season last year. I probably watched an hour.
Right.
Total. I watched the NFC Championship.
Now you're going to have 2 kids coming up soon. So I mean, sure.
No more Lions.
Yes. Me versus Scott, Falcons, Dolphins on Friday night. So we get to watch that. So the NFL preseason is back this week.
I'll tune in
I
that
am
one.
as excited.
I'll tune
well,
in.
I don't know if there's local television
Just
for it.
kidding. No, I won't.
you catch it on the NFL Network.
Okay.
Falcons, Dolphins. And again, don't know how much starters are going to play down in Miami, but that comes back on Thursday. Hey, before we go to Four Downs, Way to Wellness, that is the organization. Jim Dunaway says, frankly, it helped save his life. His number's not trending in a great way. It's not just about weight. It's about your blood pressure. It's about many different other numbers there that Way to Wellness helped him get those numbers back right. He is helping them, Way to Wellness, helping the Meltdown as well. As you see video of Lunceford and Melton from the Meltdown, they're getting healthier as well. I believe they're combined 100 pounds down now, more than 100 pounds down now just on that one show. You can get started as well. aplanforme.com is the website. Now, the reason the website is aplanforme.com is Way to Wellness is not just some cookie cutter program where you go and you do the same thing everyone else does. It is tailored to fit you and get the best results for you. Planforme.com. Leslie and her board certified staff will give you a free evaluation right away to see if this will work for you, what plan is best for you, all those things with a Way to Wellness. Way to Wellness, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Smuff in the mybookie.ag chat room said, did I just hear Rocky's having another kid? If you missed the lounge 2 weeks ago, Rockstar made that surprise announcement. Surprise to us. I don't know if it's a surprise to you.
Got another one in the oven. Yeah, old parents coming up.
2 kids
So
now for us.
exciting.
But I mean, you've confirmed it's just the one kid. I asked this again. It is not a. It is.
She says that, but we have those staring down sessions and like, look, it's just one, right? And she said, you if you keep your cool, you can meet the dad this weekend. Like,
so you're probably going to get to meet him, huh?
You cannot be confrontational. I was like, I will promise.
Okay, so congrats to Rockstar and Nancy for their second kid on the way. All right, let's do Four Downs, presented every single day by slicebirmingham.com to find the area, the pizza location nearest you. We love the Hot Mama. We love the Wing and a Prayer. We love the Soul Pie. We love all of them right there at slicebirmingham.com. 5 great locations. The Bajalia brothers do a tremendous job of some of the most unique pizzas you'll ever try. Slice Pizza bringing you Four Downs that starts with
First Down.
All expenses paid to Paris, France. Would you want to go during the Olympics or not during the Olympics?
I would say not during the Olympics.
It seems like it's got to be crowded, but if you're a party scene guy, and now, Mick, you seem a little more reserved.
Yeah.
You don't mind having a cold one, but you're not a party scene guy. No. If you're a party scene guy, I bet the parties around the Olympics are pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I bet every venue out there is just nuts right now.
No, I just got back from Vegas. I went to the Sphere to see Dead & Company for 3 nights, and it was great, but I didn't get to do any of the other stuff that I set out to do, because you're there, and it's like, well, by the time I get to the point where I'm kind of awake after the night before, there's a small window and you got to go. So you don't really get to see France or Paris if you're there. You're going to games, and so that's why I'd say, for me, I'd rather go when it's not in session.
Did you go to all 3 concerts? You went to 3 straight Dead & Company concerts?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Do they play a different show every night?
Every night. They have like a big, they have so many songs. There's songs, I've been to a ton of their concerts that I've never heard before.
They ever played Touch of Grey? You ever heard that one?
I have before, but you know what? They rarely play that.
Oh.
It's the only top 40 hit they ever had.
That's right.
I think that's why they don't play it.
Yeah. I like that song. So at the Sphere, 3 straight nights you went to see Dead & Company.
Yeah.
That is wild,
and
Mick.
I didn't want to leave. I was like,
You'd have gone up for it
if they would have had one. And
if they'd had a 4th night, you'd go on 4th night.
I would have, yeah. I mean, like, I can't wait to go back. And we talk, like, the people that like this, which includes me and a bunch of my friends, we get together on chats and, like, break down the set list and stuff like a sporting event.
It's like
I could do a
Taylor
podcast
Swift.
on it.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
would you be interested in having the set list beforehand to be that guy?
You know what? There's a dead band called the Stolen Faces, and they played the baseball team, the Smokies I work for. And I think I helped them get the gig or whatever for Grateful Dead night. And the lead singer, Christian, asked me to make the set list. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So you got to pick the set list.
Oh, I mean, like, and I'd like, looked over it, thought about it, like asked, like I wanted my first set to start, what I wanted to end on, how I wanted like the second set to go. Yeah, it was great.
That's cool.
Yeah. All expense paid to Paris. Would you want to go with
during
the
Olympics?
You would want to go during the Olympics?
Because that means I get to go to all the events I want to go to. And
so you just want to go see the Olympics in Paris?
Yeah.
They're in LA in 4 years.
Yes. I'm going to be the person. I have been to Paris, so I feel like I've done the tourist. I would love to go back during the games.
Okay.
Second down.
This might surprise people when I give this stat. Jalen Milroe and Peyton Thorne rushing yards. How close do you think they were last year for the season?
I feel like because you're asking this question, it's going to be way closer than we think.
What would you have guessed before I said that?
Oh, gosh.
Would you have said not very close in rushing yards?
Yeah, I would have thought that there was a significant gap, but I can't give an exact number.
Jalen Milroe, they both played 13 games because remember Milroe, as we talked about earlier, did not get to start against South Florida. So they both played 13 games. Jalen Milroe, 531 rush yards, 40 yards per game. Peyton Thorne, 515 rush yards, 39 per game. They're only separated by 16 rush yards in the same amount of games, which I think would surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think that's why Alabama didn't beat Michigan, because when Milroe is running the ball effectively and throwing the ball, they're really hard to beat.
Yeah.
And I felt like against Georgia, like he would pick his times and he was very aggressive.
Especially when the game was on the line at the end. 2 key runs to seal that game away.
And it just felt like he was a lot more tentative against Michigan with the run.
I agree.
And also early in the year, I think he was hurt. And the Texas A&M game, he stayed in the pocket the entire game. And then
had
you
a pretty
watch,
good game, though.
He had a great game.
Yeah.
But when you go back and compare that to the LSU game, which I think is when you saw the best that he could possibly be, Thorne, on the other hand, is kind of a sneaky runner.
Yeah, he had the big run against Georgia, but other than that, you don't think of a lot of massive runs out of him.
But they do a lot of the read, the pass run option
stuff.
stuff.
That's the reason I asked this question. Hugh Freeze is talking about doing more RPOs. So I ask you this: more rush yards this year, Jalen Milroe or Peyton Thorne? On the surface, sounds like a crazy question, but when you look at last year's numbers, it's not that crazy.
I don't know because I'm going to go Milroe again. And there's really it could go either way.
It could go either way. I mean, last year's numbers told you that, yeah.
No offense to Thorne, but I mean, when you get near Milroe, I saw him at the mullet toss. He's just so big and strong.
He's a big kid, yeah.
He's almost like a fullback at quarterback. But I think both guys will have good years running the football. But Milroe's the safe bet.
I think it could be close again, though.
I bet most people are surprised it was within 16 yards last year. So we'll see if it's close again this year. Let's do third down.
Third down.
All right, we're to the celebrity birthday portion of 4 downs. Those are my favorite parts. Patrick Ewing, 62 years old today.
I remember those Knick teams.
Well, they never did one thing under Patrick Ewing, and that's win a world championship, right? Those Knick teams. They were close, and when Jordan disappeared, but he had to go up against Michael Jordan. He's got a college national championship. He's got a gold medal, but he doesn't have a pro championship. I'll give you a second to think about this. I think I know Rockstar's answer. Best athlete to not win a professional championship.
Oh, okay.
With Patrick Ewing turning 62 today. Best athlete
Allen Iverson.
To not win a professional championship. Not a terrible answer. AI was phenomenal. I thought you were going to go Barry Sanders.
Yeah, Barry Sanders was my number 2, but you said athlete.
Well, that's true. I did.
Allen Iverson's incredible.
No, Allen Iverson is an incredible athlete.
That's a good one.
Did not
Allen
win a
Iverson.
championship. Yeah.
I like that
I'm a
one.
Dan Marino fan. As a lifelong Dolphins fan, Marino has got to be in this discussion. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
I like Allen Iverson. Barry Bonds would be on that one.
Wow. How about Scott? Bonds, did they not win a world championship? Am I wrong about that? Did the Giants not win a world championship on Bonds?
I don't think they did. They lost.
Okay.
She's right, yeah.
Yeah. Yellow Cake says King Griffey Jr. This is the mybookie.ag chat room. Tom says Megatron. Landmine Believer says Barry Bonds. Forrester says Bo Jackson. Hunter also Bo Jackson. That is a valid answer. There's no doubt about that.
He didn't say Jackson. He said Bo.
He did say Bo.
No.
Bo Nix.
Scarborough.
Bo Bice.
Yeah.
Bo's a perfectly legitimate answer. Now, he was cut down by injury, obviously. I'm probably looking more about guys that played their full career and didn't win one.
Ron Acuna wouldn't count in 2021. That'd be a caveat.
Yeah, how do you grade that? I mean, he's got to get credit for that. He played half the season.
Yeah, I played half. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he got a ring.
Yeah.
He played half the season and got a ring.
Yeah. I hope he gets another one, but that's an interesting little caveat there.
Yeah. You got one in mind?
Yeah,
Mac?
yeah, I do. And Bo Jackson did cross my mind when I'm thinking like just great athlete, but honestly, Charles Barkley. I mean,
Smuff says Charles. Yeah.
You know, I love him on the NBA. I don't really even watch much NBA, but if I can catch their show, NBA Live, they do such an amazing job. It's one of the best shows on television, so I like him. And then to go back and think about his career and how good they were in Phoenix and how close they were, and then not to get there, it's kind of surprising.
Yeah, Charles is an excellent answer. There, Colin Kaepernick, Nick says.
Rory in the Masters.
Roy in the Masters. He's won the other majors. Goose says.
True.
Evan says Mike Trout. I mean, Trout.
Oh,
That's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, if he gets, I guess, to the finish line and doesn't win one.
Oh.
And he's out for the year again.
Yeah, well,
Other meniscus. Yeah,
that's unfortunately been an ongoing situation for him. All right, fourth down.
Fourth down.
Neil Armstrong would have been 94 today.
Wow.
Herb Brooks. Now, I know you know who Neil Armstrong is.
Yeah, I know Neil Armstrong.
Let me tell E.G. who Herb Brooks is. Herb Brooks was the coach of the 1980 Olympic hockey team, the United States that upset Russia.
Miracle.
He would have, Miracle.
Oh, nice.
Huh?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell played him.
Yeah.
He then went on to, I think, coach in the NHL. He never found that success again. He would have been 87 today, Herb Brooks. Greater American moment, the first man on the moon or the U.S. beating Russia? We beat Russia in both cases.
I think.
Which is a greater American moment, the first man on the moon or the United States beating Russia in hockey?
Knee-jerk beating Russia in hockey.
First man on the moon. We went to the moon.
But
we went to outer space.
I don't know.
We don't exactly have a lot of gold medals in hockey.
You had to explain who Herb Brooks was.
I did.
But I love the moment.
Yeah, great.
I mean, the moon, yes, it's awesome. But like that one is a great movie too.
Right.
You guys ever catch Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
They had a guy on there. He had a guy on there that says that it was impossible to get to the moon and gives a really compelling point.
Oh, yeah.
So is he claiming it was staged?
Well, he says that there's no way that they could have had, there's no way that they could have had enough fuel to go there and come back.
Lord.
And then when you start to hear the details of it, your wheels start turning.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, in 1969, I mean, go look at those rockets. And then they can't get there now. And then you're like, okay.
Look at Mick.
Yeah. So with that said, I don't know where I fall other than
I don't think anybody claims that the U.S.-Russia hocky game was a fit.
No, it was one of the most amazing ones, and it wasn't for the gold medal. It was to get to the gold medal, right? When they beat the Soviet Union and gave one of the greatest. And that was back when they used amateur athletes.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm going with Brooks.
Thank you.
Now maybe it was fixed, but it certainly, but it was absolutely played. Well, yeah, it was not on a soundstage in Hollywood.
Right. Like,
I mean,
the thing about it is if this guy's right, and you start to think about it, 1969. I mean, could it possibly have been staged? And then all of a sudden, you're like, all those years of MTV, and they put the flag in.
I know. Didn't even happen.
Is this even real?
That was Neil.
That's Neil, I know.
That's 4 Downs presented by Slice, slicebirmingham.com. When we come back, Adam Rittenberg, ESPN, is joining us, and we'll talk more about the Michigan story and plenty of college football with Adam. That is next on the next round.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section.
The first college football tailgate party of the season is set. Bowling and Bragging will be Saturday, August 17th at 6 p.m. in Crestline Village in Mountain Brook, benefiting the Critical Care Transport Program at Children's of Alabama. For more information, visit boilingandbragging.org.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the next round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the next round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
I'm here with my good friend Jon Lunceford of Lunceford Furniture to tell you about special values on some super comfortable seating. What you got, John?
Lance, every year we stock up on great comfort items like Lazy Boy recliners and sofas so that our customers can be ready for fall and football. This year is no different. We've made special purchases that will deliver great value to next round listeners and give them the most comfortable seat in the house. And as always, we've got the best prices in the state on Lazy Boy and the best selection anywhere.
That's awesome. We all know from years of shopping with you guys that Lunceford Furniture is the home for Lazy Boy value.
All right, Adam Rittenberg covers college football for ESPN. He joins us now. We'll talk some Michigan with Adam, but plenty of college football as well. Welcome in on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, Adam Rittenberg. How are you today, Adam?
Hey, doing well. Good morning. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. I know, when a story like this breaks, you're like, oh, crap, everybody in the world is going to want to ask me Michigan questions. We are going to do that. I apologize in advance. Bigger story than we imagine? Is it being overblown? We need to watch? I mean, how would you qualify this story at this point?
Well, I think that a lot of what's in at least the draft of the NOA has been reported. It was, we knew that this is an extensive alleged sign-stealing operation, and we knew who was at the center of it, and Connor Stallions, but that other people, might have been involved or at least tangentially connected to him. And so it's certainly notable that the number of games and, just some of the other details that, again, had been reported last fall, but are now, on the doorstep of being delivered to Michigan in the form of a notice of allegations. I think the newsiest part of the report over the weekend was the fact that Sharon Moore's name is in there, but perhaps not for anything that shows that he knew or was directing Connor Stallions to do what he was doing, but that there was communication that Sharon Moore, tried to conceal initially, and he ended up turning it over. But it didn't seem, again, if he's not being hit with level 1 violations for that communication, my sense is that the NCAA has not found him to be complicit in the operation. Now maybe that changes, and this is just a draft, and obviously Michigan could see something different. But and the fact that his name is in there is notable because he's the only staff member that's left over. Everybody else has kind of moved on from the program, including Jim Harbaugh. And Sharon Moore was also part of another NCAA infractions case that resolved earlier this year, but now his name is involved in this one as well, so he could be hit with some type of repeat violator penalty. So I think the concern, if you're Michigan, is more so what's going to happen to Sharon Moore versus what's going to happen to the program as far as vacated wins or national championship or anything like that.
Adam, this is Emily Grace McWhorter, not Lance Taylor. I know I sound a little different, but I'm curious about the phrasing of Connor Stalions. It says that he was not cooperative. What do you make of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I think that he's somebody who, as of right now, is not affiliated with any program. And so this is not a criminal investigation, even though some people think this was a crime. Certainly college football fans like to do that. This is not a criminal investigation. So he has an attorney, and they obviously communicated with the NCAA, but maybe did not reveal as much as the NCAA hoped that. So again, it's not as though you're dealing with a coach who's trying to coach at another school, and you have that power over them to say, hey, if you don't cooperate, we're going to hit you with a really hard penalty. I don't know if Connor Stalions is going to work again in college football. Maybe he'll surface somewhere else in another field. And so he doesn't have to cooperate maybe to the level that the NCAA would like him to, and that it often gets from coaches who want to remain in this enterprise.
All right, before we move on from this story and just talk more college football with you, does your gut tell you, because of the repeat offender status, is there a chance Sharon Moore might be facing any sort of suspension? I mean, it would be irony that he kind of got an on-the-job interview because his head coach got suspended, and then he becomes a head coach and could get suspended. I mean, is there any chance he's facing that, or would that be a step too far, do you think, for the NCAA?
Oh, no, I think that's possible. And again, he was also suspended himself for that first game last year. That was part of the other infractions issue. He and Jim Harbaugh famously went over to his house and watched the game together. And then obviously, as you mentioned, he took over for Harbaugh late in the season for those more important games after the Big Ten suspension of Harbaugh. So absolutely, that's a concern. I'd maybe be more concerned about, are there recruiting-related penalties, show cause, that type of thing, that the NCAA could impose upon Sharon Moore. But again, I just look back to the fact that it's not level 1 violations. Certainly it's disappointing when someone deletes text messages, but it's not uncommon. Coaches, are and a lot of people are like this. When you're affiliated with someone who's in the news for bad reasons, you want to distance yourself from them, even if what you were texting about is not incriminating to you necessarily. And, without talking to Sharon about it specifically, I can certainly imagine, oh, wow, Connor's name is everywhere. Let me distance myself from him as much as possible. And then ultimately, those text messages were found. But if those are not overly incriminating to him as far as the sign stealing and something that would compromise the integrity of the game, I don't imagine that his penalty will be overly severe, but we'll see. The NCAA has obviously been very, very motivated in this case, to the point of sharing information with the Big Ten that then prompted the Big Ten to take a largely unprecedented step of imposing a suspension on Jim Harbaugh long before the NCAA investigation was complete. So this is a serious, different and serious situation.
Hey, Adam, Mick Gillespie here. I want to ask you about the Kentucky situation. I know they got 2 years probation. Can we look at that at all and say, hey, here's what they got punished for, no-show jobs they had players running, and then compare it to what's going to happen with Michigan, or is there anything to be seen between those two?
Yeah, the hard thing with that case that's different from Michigan is that, unless there's a surprise in the actual NOA, there's no issue with Michigan regarding ineligible players participating in games. So this is really not a player-centric investigation like that one was. But, there's obviously some parallels in terms of, what did coaches know? Like that's at the core of the Michigan one. Was this a single person leading this operation with a few other maybe low level folks involved, or was there truly knowledge and maybe direction even at the highest levels of Michigan's football program? And that's really what the NCAA Michigan investigation is about. And there's certainly something that they looked into with the Kentucky side. They didn't find any sort of wrongdoing from the coaching staff, but that's the big difference, is that Michigan players really have nothing to do with this particular investigation. It's all staff members and obviously Connor Stalions being right at the middle of that.
Adam, your underachiever tiers are back. I was wondering if you could give us a little preview of what to expect in that article for our listeners.
Right. So this is something I started a couple of years ago, looking at, programs in the sport that just aren't meeting their potential for various reasons. And it's not all teams that should be contending for the national championship, but you're kind of going into the why. Why has this program had such a hard time making bowl games? Why has this program had so many financial issues? Why is this a school that's known for basketball but can't really get it together on the football side? And then this year we incorporated my colleague Bill Connolly, who obviously does a lot in the kind of the analytics and the data space, and he has all sorts of metrics that we can look at to say who is underachieving based on this metric. So we incorporated SP Plus and have a tier in there. So we have 7 different tiers. Again, not all teams that should be honestly contending for the CFP or national championships, but also looking at who should and who isn't and who's falling short, and also what are some programs that maybe you wouldn't think of as an underachiever, but are kind of approaching that status if they don't start to win at a higher level. And so we're looking at factors like your stadium size and your fan base and how much do you pay your coaches and where you're located and can you recruit at a high level and where are you being ranked in recruiting? Is that matching up to the on-field performance? And we all know them, but we're just trying to kind of go deeper into why this program is falling short despite some advantages that, in theory should be yielding a better performance than it's getting.
Adam Rittenberg, ESPN. It sounded like you just described Texas A&M and the SEC. I mean, they've got everything, but they've never really won anything of note.
Yeah, so they're kind of the inspiration for these years, at least the last few years. Yeah. Honestly, to be fully transparent, I started this 3 years ago, and Georgia was the inspiration. I was born in 1981. They hadn't won a national title in my lifetime. So, and they're generally regarded as like you talk to 100 coaches. If they're being honest with you, I bet you 80 to 85 of them will tell you Georgia's the best job in the country. So why is Georgia not winning? Lo and behold, Georgia started to win. They moved off the tiers. And then the clear focus of this has been, at least at the top, Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M is in a great location, big stadium, massive fan base, so much money, as we saw last year with the Jimbo Fisher buyout. And they haven't won a conference title since '98, haven't won a national title since '39. I mean, it's wild as far as the level of underachievement. And so why is that? And there's obviously others that fit into that category, but A&M has sort of become the poster program for underachievement in college football.
At ESPN Rittenberg is where you find Adam. Read him at ESPN.com. Adam, thank you very much for the time. Always great talking with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Adam Rittenberg with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. In just a moment, the coaches poll is out.
Ooh, nice. That's exciting.
You guys excited?
Yeah.
We've tried to guess where everybody's going to be. We'll tell you where everybody is in the coaches poll. That's in just a moment. I want to remind you first about Inverness Country Club. If you're looking for a country club home, you can find your sense of community at Inverness Country Club. Memberships that fit everybody. A social membership, which has got that resort-style pool complex, full-service cabana bar, live music on Friday nights, Sunday brunch, sports. They got tennis and pickleball, and, of course, golf. Beautiful course, great driving range that is currently expanding, great clubhouse right there at Inverness Golf Club. If you travel for work or pleasure, the Heritage Plus option gives you access to 37 courses around the country if you're a member there at Inverness Country Club. Take a tour today. You can do it one of two ways. Call Aaron at this number. It's a 205 area code, 991-8608. Tell her I heard the next round talking about Inverness Country Club. I want my tour. 205-991-8608. That's Aaron. Or you can just log on, iccalabama.com. That is iccalabama.com. The first coaches poll for 2024, the preseason coaches poll is out. Georgia, I don't think surprising anyone, is number one in the country. 46 first-place votes. There are, if you'll give me a second, I'll tell you how many first-place votes there are available. 48.
Can you give me
53.
the context of who votes, how
I don't
it's
have the
calculated?
coaches' names yet.
Okay.
I can find them. I may be able to find them in the top of the hour commercial break. I can find them, but I don't have them readily available right now, the coaches that are voting. Georgia, I don't think anybody's surprised by Georgia being number one, right? 46 of 50, 55 first place votes. Does that surprise you?
Say it again.
46 of 55 first place votes. They get 46 of the 55. That doesn't surprise you. Ohio State's number 2. Anybody surprised by that? They got 7 first place votes.
No.
Oregon is number 3. If I read this right, Oregon did not get a first place vote, but they finished number 3. So nobody picked them to win it all, but they finished number 3. Or starting number 3. I'm a little surprised that they're in front of Texas.
I would say Texas.
Texas is 4. They did get a first place vote. Alabama is 5. They did not get a first place vote, which will be the first time, I would say, in quite a while Alabama got 0 first place votes, if I had to guess. I don't know the last year Alabama didn't get a single first place vote. Maybe there's a more obvious one.
Well, the last time Alabama was ranked outside of the top 3 of a preseason coaches poll was 2009 when it began number 5 after a 12-2 season in 2008.
So, by the way, they're number 5. I mean, that's not exactly terrible.
Right.
Number 5. Ole Miss is number 6. Got to be one of the highest preseason rankings in Ole Miss history. I remember, Mick, you'll remember this probably. 2000. Boy, it's gonna stress me to remember the year. I want to say maybe 08 when Houston Nutt was there.
Oh yeah.
They had the quarterback, and I cannot say his name to save my life. And he was. They thought that this was going to be the year for Ole Miss, and a lot of people had circled Alabama at Ole Miss in 2008, and Ole Miss lost the week before, I think, at South Carolina, and then Alabama also beat them like badly, something like 23-3.
Yeah.
Trying to remember who the Ole Miss quarterback was that year. Keep wanting to say Shea Patterson, but it was not Shea Patterson. It was another quarterback. Shea Patterson came after this one. Ole Miss is 6. Notre Dame is 7. Michigan is 8. Michigan got the only other first place vote. They are number 8. Penn State is 9. Florida State rounds out your top 10. So here's your top 10 again. Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Michigan, Penn State, Florida State. That's your top 10. Missouri is 11th. Mick and I were talking about Missouri in a break. Their schedule is so favorable for them. Javon Sneed, by the way. Thank you, Ross. That was perfect. Yeah, Javon Sneed. Missouri is 11. LSU is 12. Utah is 13. Clemson 14. Tennessee 15. Oklahoma, in their first year in the SEC, 16th. Kansas State 17. Oklahoma State 18. Miami 19. Texas A&M 20. Arizona is 21, NC State 22, USC 23, Kansas 24, Iowa 25. I do not have others receiving votes right now. I'll try to find that. But that is your coaches poll.
Interesting. I feel like the first half of the top 10 makes sense. I feel like Ole Miss is still, it's really interesting to just see them in the mix, truthfully.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
The back half of the top 10 is interesting to me.
Just looking at some of these current rankings, your week 1 games, Georgia-Clemson would be number 1 versus number 14, top 15 matchup for Georgia-Clemson. Texas A&M, Notre Dame, one of the biggest games week 1 would be number 7 Notre Dame, number 20 Texas A&M. So 7 versus 20 in that one. Ohio State and Oregon play later on in the year, so a lot can change between now and then, but right now they're 2 and 3. Ohio State and Oregon, or excuse me, Georgia and Texas will play later on in the year. Right now, they're number 1 and number 4. Alabama and Georgia play week 5, 4th game for both. Week 5, that is 1 versus 5 right now. So just looking ahead at some of those potential matchups, a lot of drama. Some of those potential matchups coming up this year. Right now at Georgia, and we've talked about their schedule so much over the years. Their schedule currently includes number 4 Texas on the road, number 5 Alabama on the road, number 6 Ole Miss on the road, and number 14 Clemson neutral site. So, I mean, that is a much better Georgia schedule than we have been used to seeing lately.
It's been cupcakes for the last few years, and I think it'll be a test for them. One team that, when you said the list, is sticking out is Utah to me.
Utah at number 13.
At number 13 because
highest ranked Big 12 team.
They have such a favorable schedule as well.
They do. They do.
that one could be kind of a sleeper. What is LSU, 15?
LSU is 12.
12?
Yep.
And then who is ahead of them?
Missouri at 11. That's the favorable schedule is Missouri. Yeah. If they're number 11 good, that is a schedule. But I'll point out, here's what I'll bring up. Everybody talks about how many teams from each of these conferences will get into the college football playoff. If you just start with this poll and you take the top 12 teams in from the SEC, Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Missouri, and LSU. That's 7 of the 12. And 7 are not getting in. I can go ahead and tell you that. 7 will not get in. That's 7 of the 12. From the Big Ten, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, Penn State. That's 4 of the 12. The only non-SEC or Big 12 teams that are ranked in the playoff window are ACC's Florida State and Independent Notre Dame. I mean, it is not that this is a surprise to anybody, but this is sport's going to be dominated by 2 conferences.
Yeah.
The Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah, Tennessee in there too.
Yeah.
What are they?
Tennessee's 15. They're just outside the playoff window looking in. If the playoffs started today, Tennessee would be just on the outside looking in. All right, we've got another hour to go. Trash coming up in this hour. Reminders we go to break. Our friends, the O'Neills, right now at CPAP Plus, making sure you're taken care of. It is so important, and if you're on a CPAP, you know that Woody and Joe are onto something here with CPAP Plus. Woody and Joe O'Neill. It's a local company that makes sure you have got the absolute best equipment for your CPAP machine. It is so important. Helps you sleep better. Helps you save your life. Why are you buying masks and supplies online or for Amazon? Come see them and fill them and buy them in person with CPAP Plus. Pelham, Highway 280, now open in Trussville. Get that free CPAP checkup, free filters. You don't even need an appointment for that. They got the best equipment in the game like ResMed, React, Fisher Paykel. Mask and supplies in stock every day, and 200 5-star reviews on Google. The folks at CPAP Plus are CPAP users themselves, so they know how to take care of you. Make sure you see more. CPAP Plus. Listen, if you're wondering about any of the locations, just Google CPAP Plus in Google. Find all those great locations in the Birmingham area, 280 Pelham, and Trussville. One more hour of the next round after this.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter at RockstarBHM.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or Michelson. LaserVision.com.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok while we're changing the game yet again. Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the Intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low, low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of the next round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, we enter the Champy's Chicken Hour. Champy's world famous fried chicken, bringing you this hour of the next round. Champy'sChicken.com, great place to go for lunch. Sterling and the gang, they have officially thrown the doors open and we're ready to rock right there. Get those great chicken fingers, Mississippi Delta po' boys, our Mississippi Delta tamales, the great po' boys, sides, desserts. Champy's Chicken, Champy'sChicken.com. Mick Gillespie in today, EG sitting in. Dunaway and Lance will be back various times. Lance back tomorrow, Dunaway back Thursday as we wrap up some of our vacation. I'm off Friday. And then I think we're all back together. Don't forget our anniversary party coming up August 15th. You do not have to RSVP. Just show up ready for a good time at Walk-On Stadium Trace near the Hoover Met, just off 150 and 459. And we will start around 5 o'clock. Obviously, you guys get there early and have a great time, and we'll stick with you until you're ready to go or until Walk-Ons kicks us out.
I love it.
Which has probably happened before. I think Walk-Ons probably said, we got to close this place at some point.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Oh, it is. Oh, we love it, man. It is a fun party every year. It's a reunion. A lot of our audience, they've gotten to know each other at that party, or they talk to each other in the mybookie.ag chat room or
so cool.
on Twitter, and they finally get to meet, and then they end up hanging out and talking football. So it really is. We have a good time.
This will be my first one.
That is true. You were not around for it last year,
No,
were you? You didn't start here until right before football.
Yeah, it was Tuesday. I started my first day. Monday was Labor Day, and then Saturday was Texas-Bama.
Yeah.
Has not slowed down since.
That's right. You will be back, EG, on campus this week,
Yep.
Wednesday in Tuscaloosa, Thursday in Auburn.
Wednesday, Tuscaloosa, Thursday in Auburn. I love getting a feel of what you guys want to know about both respective teams. So I usually send out a tweet and I'll say, what do you guys want to know? And it's been helpful for me, but also you guys get answers. So I'll send out those tweets, reply to them, anything for Auburn or Bama, and I will do my best to get you guys an answer.
All right. So hit EG up, whatever you want to know. She'll try to get the answer for you. And that is coming up Wednesday in Tuscaloosa, Thursday in Auburn. Thursday with the offensive coaches in Auburn, right?
Yeah, so no players, no practice window, just offensive coaches. But Wednesday we'll have a practice window and then offensive players and coaches for Bama.
All right. So anything on offense you want to know,
Yeah.
EG is your person in Tuscaloosa and Auburn this week. As Mike Rodak points out, Mike who covers the Alabama Crimson Tide and does so for 24/7 Sports, Bama 247. 15 of the top 25 Big Ten and SEC schools. Again, this is not a surprise when you see these leagues and the way they have grown. I'm not entirely sure it's healthy for the long term of the sport. I don't know if it is or not. We'll see. But for two conferences to dominate like that, I will be interested to see what the final poll looks like. If you had to guess, more or the same, more or less than 15 teams combined, SEC and Big Ten in the final poll, would you guess it's more or less or the same?
I think it's going to be less just because you're going to lose.
Yeah, but then somebody's going to be better than what you thought, and they'll move in maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to say less just because I think they'll have some good teams in the other conferences that'll look great on paper with like one loss or no losses, something like that.
So you think it'll be less than 15?
Yeah.
You think it drops?
I think it'll be roughly the same. I think there's possibility of that happening, but I think we'll have this conversation in December and it'll look similar. But I do have a question for you guys.
Okay.
What will be the great equalizer of college football in the next 15 to 20 years? Will there be one, or will we see?
Well, you mean among the conferences?
Among the conferences.
What equalizes among the conferences? The only thing that can equalize the ACC and the Big 12 is more money. They just don't have the money that the SEC and the Big 10 do. And you can't buy championships, but boy, it doesn't hurt. And a pretty good test of that's going to be Ohio State this year. They have spent a ton of money on this one season. So we'll see if they can buy a championship or buy close to a championship. I don't know if they can or not. We act like, though, that Georgia doesn't spend any money on football and they're just there. Like we talk about Ohio State buying a championship. They may have spent all this money on NIL and hiring Chip Kelly. But what has Georgia spent on this season? What has Alabama spent on this? They spent a ton of money. Oregon, they spent a ton of money on this season. May not be in the same way that Ohio State has, but let's don't pretend like Ohio State's trying to buy it, and Alabama and Georgia and Oregon and Texas and everybody else that was in that top 5 or top 10, they're spending minimum wage, and they're somehow the little engine that could.
Yeah.
They're spending a ton of money too.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to think that of all the sports, there's really no rule at all about how much money you can spend on roster construction. And until they make some kind of a rule, the smaller conferences are the ones that are going to suffer because they're not going to have the resources to go out there and spend the money. And that's what I worry about with just the sport in general, because I do like seeing teams other than the SEC and the Big Ten, play football games.
Yeah.
But it really feels like it's like this and this because of the money.
But even today, let me see if I can find this story. I was going to bring it up earlier, but we got sidetracked with something else. Even today, I am looking at a story from 24/7 Sport, or excuse me, from On3 Sports, and it is. I'm not going to be able to find it, but I think I can do it off the top of my head. It's Ross Bjork, who used to be the athletics director at Texas A&M. He's now to Ohio State, and he was talking to some of the media there, and they were talking about. How do you keep up? Now, I just talked about a team that just spent this kind of money, some estimate as high as $30 million, to construct this year's roster and hire Chip Kelly away from UCLA to be their offensive coordinator. It's a lot of money. Wow. They make as much money, Ohio State, when it comes to the end of the year, they make as much money as anybody in college football. And today in an interview, or yesterday over the weekend in an interview, he tells the media up there, we got to keep all our options open to maximize the amount of money we can maximize, even to the point. I know how EG feels about this because she sees it with her Braves. Even to the point, Ross Bjork said, we've got to consider patches, patches on the uniforms, and naming rights to the stadium, the Horseshoe, Ohio Stadium, which is just a historic college football venue. Like, could you imagine Value Right shopping centers? Value Right Ohio Stadium or whatever. But Ross Bjork today in Columbus is saying we got to keep that open. And if Ohio State's doing it, by the way, Alabama's going to do it. Auburn's going to do it. Georgia's going to do it. All of them.
Yeah, like the Cubs just put a Motorola patch on their sleeve 3 days ago.
You're a Cubs fan. Does it bother you?
Well, I just remember when Motorola used to have those rubber phones. Then they would you could bounce them down the stairs. You remember the flip phones?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were even around anymore. So I thought, well, it's probably good marketing. But having spent my life in professional sports, I understand that part of it is you've got to be able to find alternative revenue streams.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we're kind of at that point now where we have to admit that college sports, which they probably always were, but they're professional now.
That's right.
Because you are paying these people, these guys that play football and all that. And so I don't mind it. I mean, I get it. I just hope that it's something that doesn't you don't look like, sometimes I watch baseball in the Mexican League and they'll have the whole uniforms and advertisement, or NASCAR, the guys get out and
golf is getting there too.
Yeah. I wouldn't want it to be like that, but I understand why.
Yeah.
So I know this from hearing you talk about the Braves and Pennant Grace. The Pennant Grace is coming up after the show today, 12:15. They've got the Quikrete on their sleeve.
Yep.
You hate it.
I don't like it. I think that, again, I'm not going to pretend that I don't understand why it's needed, but I feel like I'm a traditionalist in the sense of keep the uniform the uniform.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many advertisements. I was actually sitting at Truist, and I was looking around, and I sat in left field up a little higher than I haven't sat in that section before. And when you look around, I think Truist does a really good job of it. It looks very aesthetically pleasing, but you start picking out sponsors and signs, they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. I mean, it's on the pitching mound now too. Like they interchange them throughout the game. At what point do we draw the line? Keep off the uniforms. I don't care what you do on the pitching mound. I don't care what you do on the outfield wall. I don't care. But at a certain point, it's so obvious. And like the ADT one for the Marlins, it's horrible.
It's massive. Yeah,
it's horrible.
It doesn't bother me. It is noticeable, which it's supposed to be. Like, I think the NBA might have been the first professional league to do this. Now, NFL has done it on preseason, like on their practice jerseys. It just shows you how big the NFL is. That I know the Cowboys famously, I think, were the first ones to do it. They sold a sponsorship patch on the jerseys they wear at practice.
Insane.
Not even in a preseason game, certainly not in a regular season game, in practice. And just shows you the power of the Cowboys, the power of the NFL, that a sponsor will be like, ooh, I'll be on their practice jerseys. That's how much they're on TV. I mean, it's probably a pretty good sponsorship for them.
Yeah.
NBA did it on their jerseys in season. It didn't bother me. Like, I thought, oh my God, have we crossed this line now? And they were so small. It wasn't like some of the European leagues where they're just massive. The quick creep ones never really bothered me. It's on their sleeve.
I can't even say that. For some reason, that's like a tongue twister.
She can't even say the name. So Scott is showing you, I mean, especially with Marcelo Ozuna there with all the bright yellow he wears, it just looks like a name tag.
Yeah, it doesn't
quick
look bad on his
creep. Say it, EG.
I can't. A quick creep. Quick
She can't say it, Rockstar.
It's like it gets caught in my...
Just say Irish wristwatch.
Irish wristwatch.
He's wearing an Irish wristwatch.
Irish wrist.
That's hard to say.
Yeah,
no, I mean, it is hard to say. Quick creep.
Anyways, I don't know. I get it, but let's just draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's keep on.
Well, I mean, but unfortunately, they've drawn the line, and they still need more money. That's the problem. Is you say draw the line somewhere, and that's what these college programs have done. They've drawn the line. They've said we'll sell up to this point. They have sold up to this point, and they still don't have enough money.
Well, and it goes back to this as well. My initial question: what's going to be the equalizer? Because if this is the case for Ohio State, what is the case for other programs that aren't bringing as much money in? But I also don't think, do you penalize the schools that have the ability to bring in that much revenue and they can get those recruits and they have the donors? Because I don't think that's the answer either. I don't think you make the big top schools have to do less to accommodate for the smaller schools, but there has to be something that can be done. And I don't know what the answer is, but I feel like there is something that can be done to equalize it slightly.
I mean, don't be surprised one day if you go to a game in Alabama Power Bryant-Denny Stadium or Alabama Powers Bryant-Denny Stadium or Yellowwoods Jordan-Hare Stadium. I mean, don't be stunned if that's the case one day.
Yeah.
Because that's what Ross Bjork is saying is we've got to maximize everything. We've got to consider patches on jerseys. We've got to consider names on stadiums that might be historic stadiums. Oof. And you don't want to take a name off a stadium, so it gets
Rose Bowl.
I know. I mean, but it gets cluttered. I get it. I get it. It gets cluttered, but you don't want to start taking names off, right?
Yeah.
No.
But you also, that is some pretty valuable territory. I mean, how many people go into Bryant-Denny Stadium every year? EG will not remember this, and I don't know if you remember it, Mick, but I'm sure you remember this. When Mercedes first built the plant over in Tuscaloosa and they put the Mercedes emblem at Legion Field, do you remember that on top of the stadium? It was a massive controversy.
No, actually, I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? So one of the end zone scoreboards had the Mercedes emblem on top of it. I mean, there wasn't a lot of signage or anything. It was just the Mercedes emblem, like the hood ornament.
Yeah,
it was basically a massive hood ornament on top of the scoreboard.
And that was...
It was just an advertisement for Mercedes because Mercedes-Benz was building a plant in Tuscaloosa. And that was back when Alabama played a lot of home games there. And everybody was like, that is so tacky. I can't believe a great program like Alabama's having to play under a Mercedes emblem.
I know.
Now
hood
it's
ornament.
like the easiest thing to look at in the world compared to what we have now.
Oh, I know. There's advertising all over the stadium now. I mean, and that's the only way you can go. I mean, these programs don't operate for free.
No, and
it's only going to get more expensive.
Exactly. You also have the donor fatigue aspect.
That is right.
You cannot keep asking the same group of elite donors for millions of dollars without producing wins, and Ohio State's going to run into that because if they don't get a championship this year.
Well, that's the whole thing, and that's what I've always said is. So Ryan Day has gone to these donors and said, I need Caleb Downs, I need Quinshon Judkins, I need Chip Kelly, and these donors are like, tell me where to send the check, all right? How much do you need? How much do you need? How much do you need? You do that and you don't win a national championship with it, it's hard to go back to that donor and say, okay, this year here's who I need. And then the donor's like, well, last year I thought we needed these people. And
what
you know
happened?
what? You got knocked out in the semifinals.
Yeah.
You know, I can't keep giving if we're not going to win.
Right, right. The truth of the matter, and I mean, this is from my economics classes at Alabama is that when you have a business that generates that much money, then and you're not paying the people that generate the money, that's where this all comes from. I mean, right? I mean, think about it. The NFL gives half of the money to the players, and the NCAA and college sports have had a pretty good deal where hey, we're going to do this and this for you, and then Alabama's a $1 billion business, right? So I mean, I guess that until they kind of figure out how they're going to pay people for playing this, you're going to see a lot more, and then at some point they'll probably pay them half of the money, like like they do in the NFL, and then you'll still have to generate more money.
I don't know. I go back to the donor fatigue and where does it all land, because it's never going to be enough money, and you also have the factor that none of these players are guaranteed. You could have a player for one season.
Well, that's true in the NFL too, though. I mean, half the first-round draft picks sign massive contracts, and half of them are going to be flameouts.
Right.
Yeah.
They're never going to live up to that. So you're never going to make that scientific.
No, but I do think that there should be a contract that those players are signing that says, I'll be here.
Oh, there will be one day. When they become employees of the university, there will be, absolutely. Yeah. And there will be no more transfer portal at that point, because now you've signed a contract to play for me for 3 years or 2 years or whatever. Oh, it'll be fascinating.
Yeah. How long do you think it's going to take to get there?
Oh, I think you'll be there within 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, but still
because
5
this
years.
model is not working. This model,
5 years
I know.
of this.
Well, and that may be too high, Mick, but this model isn't working right now. So, I mean, at some points they've got to find a model that works and
pleases everyone, because no one's going to be completely happy.
No, it's not going to. Yes, it's not going to please everyone, but it will please the top level.
So, okay, here's another question: who do you think that will benefit the most? Who will get screwed over the most? By that?
The SEC and the Big Ten will benefit the most.
Yeah,
you're talking about from having players under contract because they got the most to pay.
Yeah, right.
Now you got to have a salary cap. I mean, this is all complicated, but you're going to have some sort of agreed upon salary cap, and the way teams are going to get around that is through additional NIL deals. So, in other words, Mick, I can offer Mick $10 million a year if he's a stud quarterback, and Ohio State could offer that same thing. But me and Ohio State are both, we got to keep it under a salary cap. I got to have an entire roster, and it'll be a smaller roster than it is now. Well, Mick can always come back in and say, look, Alabama's offering you $10 million, Auburn's offering you $10 million, I'm offering you $10 million. Come here. I've already got these secured deals for you. This is $8 million worth of advertising deals. They're secure. They're yours. You just come here.
I'm in.
Exactly.
I know. I mean, who's going to say no to that, right? I'm going to go play for a great program. I'm going to make $18 million. I agree. This is where it goes too far. I agree with David. The European soccer teams, a lot of times you can't even tell who the team is because the whole jersey is the advertisement.
Yeah,
I agree.
It is weird. I guess they have no issue at all with it over there, because every one of those soccer teams, the jersey is a billboard. It's not even a team jersey.
What's the phrase that Europe is 15 years ahead of us and everything?
Maybe so.
Is it Japan that the teams are named after corporations?
Yeah,
in baseball?
absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean it happens elsewhere. We've tried to avoid it in American sports, but there's going to become a point where it is absolutely unavoidable. And I would say we're pretty close to there right now. I would say we're pretty. You probably need to wrap your mind around the fact that Jordan-Hare Stadium one day is going to have a sponsor on it, and Bryant-Denny Stadium one day is going to have, and Sanford Stadium and Neyland Stadium, they're all going to have sponsors on them. It's about the only way they're going to be able to keep this thing working.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Urology Centers of Alabama sponsors the show today. Urology Centers of Alabama, making sure your urological health, which is so incredibly important, is in line. They have got branches all over the state of Alabama to make sure you're as healthy as you could be. 205-930-0920. That's 205-930-0920, or urologycentersalabama.com. That's urologycentersalabama.com. It's interesting to me, Mick, you're a big Cubs guy. Wrigley Field technically that was a family, but they were the Wrigley family. I mean, they put their family name on there. You never think of that as like a corporately named field, but it was a corporately named field, right?
I mean, Wrigley Gum.
Wrigley Corporation, they were the family name, Wrigley Field. You never think of that in the corporate name. But it really kind of was.
Yeah, and then
very early on.
Well, and you talk about all of this stuff. We went through this with the Cubs. When they put a scoreboard and they moved the bullpens, and and had to modernize to be able to
That's
generate
right.
more revenue. They've put
And the scoreboard blocks some of the rooftop seats, which is a massive controversy.
Yeah, right. And well, that's going on right now too. But and then they added some emblems on some of the buildings and stuff. But and a lot of people were upset by it. But at the same time, if you want to go out and pay for the best players, you're going to have money, and it's expensive to do all this stuff, to spend the money, not just for the salaries for the players, but the people that work there and what it takes to put on that event and insurance and everything else, So, and it's a fight for these dollars too. That college hasn't really been in.
Yeah. Our Stews in the mybookie.ag chat room says, when I was younger, before I knew, I always thought the European soccer jersey sponsor was the name of the team.
Yeah.
He didn't know he was watching Manchester United. He thought he was watching the sponsors. But that is wild. Like I see kids walking around wearing those European jerseys, and it's got the advertiser on it.
Right.
I mean,
My brother has a few. I'm like, what?
You're a walking billboard for
Yes.
some company. You're not even they're celebrating their team, but they're also just this walking billboard for this company. It's actually a genius idea by the European soccer team.
Well, let's take this a step further. This is going to get out of our audience's realm of interest, but I'll go there. Designer brands, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, their go-to is a canvas that has LV stamped all over it. You're a walking billboard. And they will charge more for that, for the CC logo for Chanel, than anything else. So I'm just going to go there too. It's happening with the designer brands, people.
I'm assuming this has not affected a lot of the mybookie.ag
No, it's
chat
not
room.
affecting you guys.
But it's a good example. Yeah.
You're getting overcharged for things that are made. It costs, this is, I'm on a tangent, maybe $25 for one of those bags with the leather, whatever, and they are charging you thousands of dollars for you to be a billboard.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And
Think
people
about the next
people
time
are happy to spend it
you
too.
buy your wife that bag.
All right, EG's going to read trash when we come back. Mick Gillespie in with us. EG on trash, Rockstar as well. That is coming up next on the next round.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at scottforestertv.
Bright Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations. I'm here with my good friend Jon Lunceford of Lunceford Furniture to tell you about special values on some super comfortable seating. What you got, John?
Lance, every year we stock up on great comfort items like Lazy Boy recliners and sofas so that our customers can be ready for fall and football. This year is no different. We've made special purchases that will deliver great value to next round listeners and give them the most comfortable seat in the house. And as always, we've got the best prices in the state on Lazy Boy and the best selection anywhere.
That's awesome. We all know from years of shopping with you guys that Lunceford Furniture is the home for Lazy Boy value.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
The first college football tailgate party of the season is set. Bowling and Bragging will be Saturday, August 17th at 6 p.m. in Crestline Village in Mountain Brook, benefiting the Critical Care Transport Program at Children's of Alabama. For more information, visit boilingandbragging.org.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Trash coming right up. EG going to read it for us. Again, if you missed it, the preseason coaches poll has dropped the first major poll. I think the AP poll is Monday of next week. I think it's the 12th, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if people... I mean, ultimately, the only one that matters now is the college football playoff poll, which we don't get until midseason. Everybody always says you shouldn't... Well, I shouldn't say everybody. There are people that believe you shouldn't do a poll until midseason. I always challenge them. You do your poll now and you do your poll midseason, see how they look. You wait till midseason. It all shakes out at the end, I think. Mm-hmm. I don't think it'd be any different if you did it midseason. But anyway, Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2, Oregon number 3, Texas 4, Alabama 5, Ole Miss 6th, Notre Dame 7th, Michigan 8th, Penn State 9, Florida State 10. That is your top 10. Other SEC schools in the poll: Missouri 11, LSU 12, Tennessee 15, Oklahoma 16, Texas A&M 20. There are a total of 15 of the top 25 that are Big Ten and SEC. The entire top 10 dominated by the Big Ten and the SEC. Only independent Notre Dame at 7 and ACC's Florida State at 10 outside of the SEC or the Big Ten in your top 10. In fact, in your top 12, if you want to go that deep, only 2 out of the top 12 that are not SEC or Big Ten schools. So that is your first coaches poll, the first major poll of the season. Again, we look at the college football playoff poll, which will be coming up midseason. That's the one that's ultimately going to matter once the committee starts meeting. Michelson Laser Vision bringing you part of the show. You can go get that risk-free evaluation. I did it. See if Dr. Mark or Jennifer Michelson can help you correct your vision. 960-9100. That is the number to call for Michelson Laser Vision. Michelson Laser Vision. God, EG, you've done it to me.
Oh, my goodness.
Michelson Laser Vision. I can say it forever until
Michelson Laser Vision.
So you brought up Quick-Crete.
Oh, I had it.
969-8100. 969-8100. MichelsonLaserVision.com. When you call, tell Amy you want the vision that they talk about on the next round. Lance got fighter pilot vision after being basically legally blind, thanks to LASIK surgery from Dr. Mark and Jennifer Michelson. Pioneers in the field. MichelsonLaserVision.com. 969-8100. 969-8100. I always love that photo they use on their advertisement. It's from our kickoff party last year. So that shows you how fun the kickoff party can be. Even the Michelson Laser Vision people make it out. 969-8100 to hear more from them. All right, EG, you ready to read some trash?
I'm ready. It's been a minute since I've gotten to do this. I'm excited.
It has been. Did you pre-read, or are we getting this on the fly?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. A little pre-read, a little not pre-read. Rockstar. It doesn't happen, though, until you hit the button.
Another time I was watching a TikTok about Beyonce, and someone in the comments said, "When's her birthday? Google it! Google it, Google it, Google it, Google it, Google it. Google is free. Google it." What the asking us for? By the time someone responded to you, you could have been Googled it.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
When it is time to buy your home, refinance your home, MortgageRight.com is where you start. MortgageRight.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. They are veteran-owned and operated. Great programs for all you veterans out there, but for anyone as well. MortgageRight.com/TNREG.
Let's do it. That open is my favorite open ever, and Rocky does it, and it makes my day every time. Thank you.
Oh, it's inspired by you. You're the one that showed it to me. I had no idea. But
it is wild.
He's in bed. Google it, Google it, Google it.
I say it all the time. Just Google it.
We'll get tweet, and I am fine with anybody sending us a tweet, right? May respond, may not respond. We'll get tweets. What time is such and such game? I'm like, literally.
Google it.
The time you typed out that tweet, you could have Googled it and get an easy answer.
Oh, I know. You can't Google this one, though, because you'll get different responses. Man in Indonesia stabs another man to death over debate on whether the chicken or egg came first. What do you guys think about that? Is it the chicken or the egg?
I've always just assumed, and this is a bad assumption on me, that in the Garden of Eden, God just created a chicken, but God could have very well just created the egg, and then the chicken hatched out of the egg. I don't know where you stand, Mick.
It's like the baby or the mom.
Yeah, it's such a deep conversation.
It is
just
deep.
like the moon landing.
I see him
just
over
like
there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it stab worthy?
I think the chicken came first.
Yeah, I've never been so passionate about the argument, Rockstar, I'm willing to kill a man over it.
So,
but it is one of those we'll never know the answer to.
Well, yeah. Have you ever been in a bar? Have you ever been in a bar when people get into arguments over dumb stuff
just like dumb
that?
stuff. Normally
This
alcohol
kind of stuff.
is,
Yeah, and you're like, are we really
yeah.
fighting over this?
You guys are sharing the story before I even can. The two men had been drinking when the incident occurred.
There you go.
The
That
two
is a
men
stunner.
did not know each other before meeting at a drinking spot. As they drank, they began joking and exchanging riddles, including the classic debate over whether the chicken or the egg came first. However, so this is where I'm like, not heads up attention from our people. However, the perpetrator got emotional and left the gathering to get a sharp weapon at home.
Yeah.
So if I was the victim, I would maybe get on my horse and ride away.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
you
you
said, "Hold on, I'm going to stab you."
Yeah, I'm going to go home and get something to kill you with.
That's true.
I mean, I think he's probably thinking we're arguing about a chicken and an egg. He just got pissed and left. Clearly he did.
When he returned, he then brutally stabbed Kadir Marcus 15 times.
Oh, it's excessive.
Yes.
15 stab wounds?
15
Yes.
times. DR took off on a motorbike and surrendered himself to the police.
Yeah, you're right, Rockstar. Thankfully, somebody had a bad blanket in the audience, and we're just going to stand around and look while he's covered.
That's crazy. Disperse, I guess.
Yes, we're going to need everybody to keep moving. We're not moving. All right.
So we have some more brawls over chicken. 2 arrested after brawl breaks out over unseasoned chicken. 2 people were arrested and charged with assault after insults over unseasoned chicken turned into a brawl involving Raid bug spray, a gun, and a knife. Raid bug spray.
Yeah, I mean, Raid bug spray will
Terrible
shut
game
you. Raid bug spray will shut you down, though. You get that in the eyes, EG. It's over with.
I've heard that you're supposed to, like, for self-defense, keep a wasp spray near you because it has like the 15 feet reach, and you can just stand at a distance and.
It's that big ass can.
Yeah, really mess someone
lot
up.
to carry around.
It's like a Pringles can.
Like you put it on your keychain like a mace.
I think you're supposed to, like, if you're somewhere by yourself, like staying home alone, get the bug spray out.
Oh, okay. Just have it.
Have it near. Maybe
nearby,
keep it in your
yeah.
car. So when Deputy Kyle Burns and Corporal Simpson arrived, they were told the situation began when Anthony Harper was asked why he didn't season the chicken that was cooking so it could crust up, the report says.
Someone in the chat room asked, did Sterling do trash today? We got 2 chicken stories.
That's a lot of chicken.
This is where I should say Sterling never fails to season his chicken. It's perfectly seasoned. No.
Anthony replied he didn't know how to cook and that their grandmother would season it. Hope Harper then called Anthony a dumb dog, and Anthony became angry, shoving Hope into a table and punching her about 5 times. The two continued to fight alongside another victim. Another person in the home then came out of the kitchen and fired a warning shot from a 9mm handgun into the ceiling to break up the fight, naturally. Hope then went into the kitchen and grabbed a steak knife. Anthony broke free from being held back after this and ran to his grandmother's door for fear of his life. Hope started swinging the knife towards Anthony. Then the grandmother came out of her room, grabbed a broom, and started swatting Hope until she walked away and put the knife up. Anthony grabbed a can of Raid bug spray and sprayed Hope on the face and neck.
Oh, my God.
Hope then grabbed the can from Anthony and sprayed him back. I mean, that was a play-by-play.
Yeah, Hope is a hard charger.
Have you ever had a argument in your home that you had to fire a warning shot in the ceiling?
No.
Yeah. Have you
What
ever
if
been there
someone had
yet?
been up there?
It is accelerated at that
Just
point.
hope nobody's upstairs, because
Yeah.
damn.
Golly.
I mean, once you fire the warning shot in the ceiling, you expect it to pretty much be over,
It
right?
seemed like it escalated after that.
Well, I know, but I expect the difference. If I fire the warning shot in the ceiling, I'm like, everybody's okay, let's all settle down.
Now's the time.
Everybody just take a deep breath and catch our wits.
Yeah, I think I know what was going on here. I was in Jackson recently and went to Mama Hamill's, which is like a really good chicken all-you-can-eat place.
It just
You've been there
sounds
before?
fantastic.
It's
No, it sounds good, yeah.
And it's in a barn, an old barn building. And
you've
there's
sold me.
lines out there,
Yum.
and it's great.
Yeah.
But when I went through, I was very hungry, and everybody was moving very slow. And in my mind, I was thinking, if you people would just move.
That's right.
But then I went up and had like a couple bites of my chicken, and I was like, I should have been more patient. You know what I mean? Like, basically, I was hangry.
Yeah.
I
That's
suffer
what I
from
think's
that.
going on here, you know?
Yeah.
That place sounds awesome. So it's an old barn?
It's
a
like a
chicken joint
barn,
now?
yeah, and it's the line to get in there. I mean, it's just continual,
Yeah.
because the food's really good, kind of an old school place. But yeah, it was in a barn.
I ate lunch yesterday, EG. I was telling Mick at the Satsuma Chevron.
Nice.
It's got the Satsuma Chevron. So Satsuma is a city north of Mobile. We'd moved my daughter back into college at South, and we were coming back, my wife and I. And she had read this, I don't know where she read it, but there was something about their breakfast. Their breakfast is legendary. They have a breakfast gumbo, which I never had gumbo for breakfast, but it includes Kaneka sausage and I don't know what else, but it's breakfast gumbo. But they serve food all day. So as we're driving back, I was going to go to a place in Mobile called Meat Boss, which is a great barbecue joint. and it was closed on Sundays, and I didn't know that. And Jennifer immediately goes, Satsuma Chevron. And then she started selling me on it. And I was like, if you think you've got to sell me on eating at a Chevron, you're insane. I will eat. And Scott has got a photo. I got 3 bones, red beans and rice, mac and cheese, and the cornbread muffin.
That looks
Satsuma
good.
Chevron. Oh, it was fantastic. My wife got the wings and some turnip greens.
Oh, so good. I love a gas station taco. That's my go-to.
I mean, I am not opposed to gas station food. Now, I'm going to need, like, the gas station, I'm going to need you to, it's going to depend on which gas station.
Turn those wieners every now and then.
What?
Turn those wieners every now and
Yeah,
then.
I'm not going to, yeah.
that
is weird. That's never really appealed to me, the gas station hot dog. Yeah, it's never appealed to me, but if you've got it
A
like
local
in a...
joint in the gas station.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you have like a big, I don't know, it's a weird request. Do you have a big pickle with juice, like just in a single bag? I got an odd craving.
I will just tell you, if you are ever heading down to Mobile, do yourself a favor. Satsuma Chevron. It's good food.
All right.
Good, very nice people too.
Yeah.
Moving on from chicken, we're going to move to rattlesnakes. Connecticut man bitten by rattlesnake. He tried to help. Ugh. When Joseph Riccardiella saw the snake in the road, he stopped his car and tried to help it to avoid getting run over. I'm going to pause here. I don't rock with snakes.
Yep. I ain't helping.
That's in the Lord's hands.
Yeah, well, as I have always pointed out, going back to the Garden of Eden, could have picked any animal. Satan picked the snake. So, yeah, from that point on, I'm like, yep, there's a reason he picked the snake.
With people and snakes, I don't try to help them. The attempted good deed landed him in a Connecticut hospital in a medically induced coma after the timber rattlesnake, which is rare in the Northeast, bit his hand when he threw a shirt over it and tried to pick it up.
Why? Google it.
Just Google it.
I mean,
Google it.
Why are
you could have done Googled.
Why are you trying to help a snake across a road?
His former girlfriend and mother of his daughter called on Sunday to say he had just been bitten and was driving to the hospital. His voice sounded odd, like Donald Duck. She said it happened as Riccardiella was driving from a park in upstate New York to his home in Torrington,
It made his
Connecticut.
voice sound like Donald Duck.
Yes.
So she's not taking him seriously either. This is not a joke.
Okay, shut up, Ernest.
I mean, that just is not avoidable. Very
Oh,
avoidable.
it's 100% avoidable. Just run the snake over.
Yeah.
The key of snakes is that if they have a very pointed head, they're poisonous, and if it's more rounded,
They're not.
Yeah.
No, generally, I don't get close enough to his face.
If it's snake-like, I don't get around.
I am in the kill 'em all, let God sort 'em out.
I've heard that. My grandmother was that way.
Yeah, that's my category there.
There are no good snakes.
A lot of people will tell you there are good snakes.
I love snakes. Yeah, they're great.
Do you really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had a boa as a pet when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the thing about it is that, well, with this right here, I mean, I would never want to get near that or a copperhead or cottonmouth type snakes. But a lot of those snakes that are around your house are keeping all the pests like mice and stuff.
Well, like a rat snake is good.
Yeah, I'd much
King
rather have a
snake.
snake around than a
I would agree.
mice.
Yeah.
I would agree. Now, I conquered that. Thankfully, a red-tailed hawk built a nest in my backyard.
Oh, nice.
And that keeps almost anything away, man.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It keeps
That's
away
so cool.
snakes, rodents, everything. Now, I did have to tell the kids, our dog's 5 pounds. And you're never going to unsee the red-tailed hawk swooping down and taking Charlie off for dinner. You're never going to unsee that, all right? It's going to be impossible to cleanse that from your mind.
I was talking to Mike Johnson,
Oh, yeah. Played at Alabama.
You guys have had him on the show
great guy,
recently, and we were talking about just some golf course in Sevierville, Tennessee, and he's like, I'll never forget that round of golf, and I thought it was going to be like great golf story. Yeah. And he said, I think it was a bald eagle flew down and attacked something right there while they were golfing.
Wow.
Like you said, it was something that you just can't unsee, though. It was vicious.
Yeah. What did you do with your boa though when you were done? See,
I sold it back to the pet store.
Okay, good.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't let it go in the Everglades.
That's the problem is when people do that because that's upsetting the environment.
Yeah,
there.
I know.
They are
mutant snakes.
Well, yeah, that's when they have to do those. Is it the Python Rodeo they have to do every year down in the Everglades?
That's bad.
Well, it is. All these idiots just release a python out in the Everglades.
Or iguanas too, and they're everywhere. Go to Key West every year at the beginning of the year after football, and there's just iguanas everywhere. And I think it's the same thing. Like people brought them as pets and
just let them go.
Yeah, and they've just become kind of part of the scenery now.
All right, Demi Moore is on a mission to remove stigma and normalize farting. The silver screen giant, age 61, partnered with Wonderbelly antacids to advocate their newly issued An Adult's Guide to Farts picture book aimed at battling the embarrassment often linked with bodily functions.
I don't know where to go here.
I got
don't
you
either.
this book. Since you're so embarrassed, I got you this book.
Yeah.
Demi Moore promotes it. It's a fart book.
Yeah, it's called Pull My Finger.
Yeah, I know you're embarrassed of it, so here's a book.
She says that An Adult's Guide to Farts book is highlighting that accepting these functions is better for our physical well-being. While the book is funny and lighthearted, it has a message about self-acceptance, a read about farts that aims to make readers smile, feel more informed, and be less embarrassed.
I don't think the book's going to work.
I don't think it is either.
It's still Demi. I'm sure she's in this for the money. She doesn't really care.
No.
But I don't think the book's going to change anything. I think we're probably going to still view it the same way as society as we do now.
I agree.
Why does it make you laugh, though,
I
every
don't-
time somebody
Exactly.
tells a fart joke? Or I don't know, but I'm still laughing, even at this age.
The last one, songs that are turning 25 this year. That is older than me. I will just let you guys know that.
So do you know, you've got old taste in music, though.
I do. I actually do know the Scar Tissue, Red Hot Chili Peppers, familiar with. Genie in a Bottle, Christina Aguilera.
I've never really been a Red Hot. Can you go back to that previous photo? Slow these down so Rockstar's got time to change the photo. The amount that the drummer Smith is his last name. I can't ever say his first name.
Will Ferrell, Chad Smith.
Yeah, Chad Smith. The amount he looks like Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
thought that was.
incredible.
Did you
to
see
me.
them together?
Yeah, on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Oh, it's hilarious. But it is. I never see the guy when I don't think it's Will Ferrell.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I even knew she was talking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I thought it was just a cameo of Will Ferrell.
They win as each other.
Yeah, I know. All right, EG, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Genie in a Bottle, Christina Aguilera.
You remember that you like that one?
Yeah, I know both of these so far.
Okay, so far so good for young EG.
Yep. Baby One More Time, of course, Britney.
Yeah, I mean that was vintage Britney Spears back
Yep,
then.
iconic.
She has since had some issues.
Yep. I Want It That Way, Backstreet Boys. It's a good one.
Still like that one.
This is all in the same year. This is insane.
That is a pretty good year
It's
so far. You're
good
right.
for
Yeah.
music. Mambo number 5.
Oh, well, that's where it fell apart.
Glad it's gone. I'm glad that one's gone.
What's that old boy's name?
Lou Bega.
Lou Bega. That's
when
right.
Lou Reed died, people said, when the Lou Bega, rip on Lou Bega.
Did he ever have another hit?
Number 6, I think, but it wasn't the same.
Livin' La Vida Loca, Ricky Martin. That reminds me of Shrek.
Awful.
Ricky Martin didn't do much after that either, did he?
No.
You know who
Not here.
else? Robin Thicke.
Oh, yeah, he had a moment.
Well, he had a moment. He's kind of like Ricky Martin, like
He
Robin
had to
Thicke.
pay everything to Marvin Gaye.
He did, but then he but Rockstar. I mean,
that was a hit. What was the
Blurred Lines?
Yeah, Blurred Lines. I mean, it was massive, and he had to pay everything to Marvin Gaye.
The majority of it goes to Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, but then he didn't come back with anything. He didn't I got to make this money back somehow. He
Yeah.
just disappeared.
Yeah.
Robin Thicke.
My Name Is Eminem. Classic.
That is a classic. Yeah. I'd never think of him though when EG probably won't remember this, but there was that Michigan game when Musburger and Herb Street were in the booth and Eminem joined them and he was
Oh, I've seen that.
stoned out of his.
I think it was a bit. He was just
You think
drooling.
so?
Yeah, I think it was a bit.
Oh, I mean, he looked like he was stoned out of his gourd, man.
Yeah. Smooth, Santana, and Rob Thomas.
Rockstar, you like that one? It's two good guitarists.
It was a good, decent song that I think Rob Thomas wrote for Mick Jagger, and he turned it down. I think Santana picked it up, and it was like a massive hit. That was one of those songs that you heard everywhere on the radio.
Yeah.
It got so overplayed. Still comes on today.
Oh, it comes on a lot today, yeah.
All Star, Smash Mouth. That's a
Oh,
classic.
yeah.
yeah.
It's
Still a
still,
good
they're
one.
still touring and singing it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, he
Good one.
passed.
Oh, he passed?
He passed, yeah.
Oh, so they're not still touring and
Yeah,
singing it?
they were having trouble. People would throw bread at them, and he,
Oh, yeah.
he had a bit of a drinking problem. And he'd confront people on stage and challenge people to fight
Yeah,
him.
it was one of the funniest videos Rockstar found.
It looked like they were playing at a supermarket.
Yeah, they're like
parking
at
lot.
some random outdoor concert. And this guy, what's his name, Rockstar, was the lead singer?
Steve something.
Is yelling at the crowd. He's like, "You MFers!" And the band never stops playing. So they're playing in the background, and he's just unloading on this crowd about how awful they've been. And if you do it again, we'll clear out this venue. Somebody's gonna.
They throw like pieces of bread at
Yeah.
him. If one more person throws a piece of bread, I will fight you, and I'm going to clean it up a little bit.
Yeah,
But
and then
it
it
was
just
rough.
goes right into the song.
Love
Like
that.
he
Wow.
never paused.
Yeah.
The last one is Say My Name, Destiny's Child. Good one. Beyonce.
One of them made it.
One of them did.
Yeah.
Made it big.
Made it big. Boy, what are the other three doing?
I don't know.
Kelly Rowland tried to be an actress, didn't she?
She did.
And I don't know the other two.
Didn't quite work out. But, buddy, one of them hit it big.
Yep.
One of the four.
That's trash.
That is trash. It's presented every single day by our friends at Mortgage Right, veteran-owned, veteran-operated, great programs for veterans, and they can help anyone. MortgageRight.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. When we return, a legendary group has called it quits for an unfortunate reason. We will discuss that and put a wrap on the show this hour, presented by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Champy'sChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster there. Go join Sterling and the entire gang for great fried chicken, those po' boys, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. Great sites, Champy'sChicken.com, Champy'sChicken.com. More of the next round after this.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
You never know what we're up to here at the Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow the Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunceford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
According to people in Vegas, I'm trying to find the exact organization there, Superbook Sports, which is in Las Vegas. Also, for whatever it's worth, Colorado, New Jersey, Arizona, Tennessee, they do a lot. The most bet on team to win their conference. Now think about this for a second, because before you just spring into an answer. Major conference, it's a Power 5 conference, Power 4 conference. Of all the college football conferences, no team is taking more conference championship bets than this team. Of all the conferences.
Of all the conferences?
All the conferences. I will go and tell you it is a Power 4 conference. So it's one of the big 4 conferences. This team is the most bet on team. And it says there are 2 times more tickets on this team to win their conference than on any other team to win their conference.
So they have to be intriguing, obviously.
I would call them intriguing, yes. It is.
Make you go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
I think it's Ohio State. They just spent $20 million on players, and you look at the players that they got, right? Junkins and the guy they got from Alabama.
Yeah, Caleb Downs.
Yeah,
Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, FSU maybe?
Well, FSU, it's an interesting guess. Clemson in that conference as well. It's Oklahoma State.
Oh.
Twice the tickets on Oklahoma State than any other team to win their conference. They are, at this place anyway, by far and away the betting favorite in the Big 12, which I look at the Big 12 is fairly wide open. Like, that is wild to me that I could almost see Ohio State more because Oregon worries me, but Oregon would probably have to beat Ohio State twice. They get one of those in Eugene. And Ohio State would have to beat Oregon twice,
That's
potentially. I don't know.
Call
Or
it.
they'll have to play them twice. Maybe not beat them twice,
yeah.
but play them twice.
Mike Gundy doing something right.
Florida State was an interesting guess, but Miami, I think,
Chris,
is
I
Miami
guess
is
FSU.
resurgent. Clemson is still going to be pretty good. They just saw them. You just saw them voted in, what were they, 13th in the most recent?
FSU's 10.
Yeah, FSU's 10 in the coaches poll. So I don't know. I was surprised by that, though, that Oklahoma State, by far and away, the betting favorite, at least at one place.
I don't know.
I know. In the Big 12, the Big 12 seems pretty wide open. I think Kansas State's good. Oak State's good. I agree with EG on Utah. I think Kansas is going to have one of the best teams they've had in quite a while. But they don't even get any home games. Their home games are in Arrowhead Stadium. They don't have a home stadium this year, Kansas. It's such horrible timing for them. They're rebuilding their stadium, and they may have one of the best teams they've had since Mark Mangino. They don't get to play a home game in Lawrence. Everything is going to be neutral site in Kansas City. So not that they've got a great home field advantage. I just, it sucks for your program that you don't get to play at home. I mentioned it going to break that Aerosmith has shut down their tour.
Wow.
And they say it's permanent. Steven Tyler has lost his voice. Scott is showing you the announcement that they shared over the weekend, and it was a very heartfelt statement, but I don't know, Rockstar, do you have any idea what's going on with Steven Tyler? Is it a sickness or what?
He's always had addiction issues. I don't know if that was, but I remember they said this was going to be their final tour. They had that.
A lot of groups say that, and they don't back that up.
Yeah, he's in his 70s, almost 80s.
Yeah.
Vegas residency. I don't know, but the guy was one of probably the top frontman in a band in a while.
Steven Tyler?
Yes, because just everything about him, the way, just the boas on the mic stand and everything. His vocal range is incredible. There's some good Aerosmith songs out there, but they're a very underrated American band.
We've had this debate a lot amongst my friends. Where did they fit in as far as American rock bands? I don't think they're better than the Dead. I don't think they're better than the Eagles. But I think once you get past that group, Skynyrd, I'd probably put up there.
Skynyrd underrated, obviously cut short because of the plane crash.
Yeah. But, they're in top 5, I would say.
Top 5
the
American
longevity of the original members. Like, it's mostly the original members.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They've been going for that long.
Do you, who's in consideration for the top 5? Do you put REM in there?
No.
You don't think they're high enough?
No, it's so hard because people say, is Tom Petty a band or is it Tom Petty? Is Bruce Springsteen a band?
I think you just got to go.
I wouldn't consider those two. Alabama, they're country rock. But
And then you get to like the Beach Boys. That was obviously an extremely successful group. It was just a different genre of music, kind of stuff EG listens to. She's got very old taste in music.
Yeah,
I do.
Some good stuff in there.
We played this game, Rockstar, on the way to Dallas, where it's somewhat of a complicated game. So, like
I love these, by the way.
Okay, but it does make time go by on the road.
It does.
You pick a genre of music, so whoever gets the guess right, they pick the next genre, right? And then everybody just picks an artist. And if that artist is the first one played of the next set of songs, you win and you get to pick again, right? So, like, if you went 90s country, I'll go Garth Brooks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So if Garth is the first one played over everybody, I get the board. EG gets the board. She's like, I'll go 70s. And we're like, God, EG, what year were you born?
2001.
2001. And she picked 70s. I'm like, I'm going to have a tough time picking a 70s artist, and I'm way older than you.
Yeah. That game I was good at. I'm going to go and say that.
You really were.
I really was. I'm on a heater with 2010s country, 70s.
Yeah, she did those two categories exclusively, 2010s country and 70s.
Yeah.
So I kept going like Creedence, Clearwater Revival.
The Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees.
All the time.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Van Halen, Jody says you got to include in that discussion, right?
Yeah.
Great
Allman
American
Brothers
Rock
in there.
Allman Brothers, yeah.
And Van
Guns N' Roses.
Halen's one of the top 5.
The Gary Strome version, right?
I like all of them. I really do. I mean,
Oh, he's incredible. There's too many to name. It's just so hard because just you can't pick one. There's so many genres of rock out there. Like Metallica, do they?
AC/DC?
They've got longevity.
Yeah, I mean, Guns N' Roses, I think, has got to be in the discussion. But there again, Axl Rose lost his voice. I mean, all these guys that did all this high register stuff, like Steven Tyler probably kept it as long as anybody, didn't he?
Well, I don't think they thought when they were 18, like,
Well,
I'm going to be doing this when I'm 78. I need to have this high.
I mean, in hindsight, Elton John would never have written half the stuff he wrote. I mean, he could have toured forever. And lost his voice. Don't forget Hemp Hill Services. If it doesn't run right, drain right, or flow right, the first call you need to make is Hemp Hill Services. Chad and the gang out there at Hemp Hill, they've helped me. Adam and the crew, they are just fantastic people. They'll help you as well, whether residential or commercial. Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090, 205-229-2090. All right, EG and Ush got a Pennant Grace coming up at about 15 minutes from now.
Stick around for
at
that.
the Pennant Grace on social media, at the Pennant Grace. Another elephant in the room coming soon with you and Jake Coker.
Yeah, maybe today.
Maybe today.
Yeah, maybe today. We're efforting right now.
Efforting to get a Roll Tide Pods elephant in the room going. Don't forget to subscribe at Roll Tide Pods, War Down Pods, The Pennant Grace. Another meltdown coming up later on today at 2 o'clock. Lance is back with us tomorrow. Please make sure you give us a thumbs up and set your alerts so you always know when we're live. Follow us on all social media at Next Round Live. Until next time, thank you for joining us. We'll see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow on The Next Round.